Anyway, back to the football. England in their white shirts and navy shorts and white socks here in the sunshine are going to be playing from right to left against this Swiss side in their red shirts and white shorts and red socks, and a little embrace there between Shaqiri and Sterling, who are now in conversation as they stand either side of the halfway line just outside the centre circle. And our referee is from Romania, Ovidiu Hatagan. He blows his whistle and we're underway. BBC Radio 5 Live here in Guimarães, and then from 4 will be from northern Portugal to the south of France to give you all the build-up ahead of England against Scotland in the Women's World Cup. So Switzerland playing therefore from left to right. Sommer in goal, a back four of Elvedi, Akanji and Cher, and Babu and Rodriguez are the wing backs, Freuler and Xhaka in the centre of midfield, and then Shaqiri and Fernandes behind Seferovic, the leading scorer in Portugal this season with 23 goals in the Portuguese league, but actually a career best return of 27 in 51 appearances. The England side is Jordan Pickford in goal, Alexander-Arnold, Gomez, Maguire and Rose the back four, a midfield three of Ali, Dyer and Delph, as Mbabu has a shot from the edge of the D and it's high and over the top. Sterling, Kane and Lingard are the front three.
I've watched Dele Alli already. He's latched on to Xhaka a lot wherever he's gone. When Switzerland get the ball, he's jumped on him because he obviously is the deepest midfield player who likes to get on the ball and keeps the ball moving for Switzerland. But England playing out from the back there, a bit risky.
It was played to Dyer, who's the pivot in that midfield three. He dropped just in between the central defenders, edge of the area, took the ball, turned and passed the ball out towards the right hand side. Harry Kane now with a layoff to Lingard. The atmosphere is quite healthy inside the stadium. We've just had the drummer beating as Harry Kane latches onto the ball in the penalty area, goes for the chip, hits the crossbar. Sommer got something onto that. Very good save. Good movement from Harry Kane, drifted into the inside right channel of the penalty area. Good vision as well to chip Sommer, and Sommer just turning backwards, palmed the ball onto the crossbar.
Oh, he's so unlucky is Harry Kane. That came from a long ball from Jordan Pickford. Really good layoff on the halfway line to Harry Kane out wide, and then he followed on, made the run, and from a wide angle clipped it over Sommer, who was flagging. Really unlucky, and a good start from England.
Well, they say that, you know, there's not much to play for, third, fourth place playoff, but credit the England fans. They've turned up here in number and they are making a lot of noise, and the atmosphere in turn will help the players, Chris Waddle.
Oh, well, obviously you want your support to get behind you, and once the game starts you're here to win, aren't you? Well, didn't beat Holland, this is the third and fourth, but make sure you win this game before this is their last game for quite a while.
Dyer plays the ball in field. Sterling gets away from his marker Elvedi, and then just stepping forward there was Cher. Xhaka, the Swiss captain, the Arsenal player, almost gave the ball away, but Swiss have it now with Mbabu on this near side. Ahead of him is Shaqiri. A lot of energy coming from Delph there in midfield to try and close them down. England are pressing the Swiss midway through their own half. Gareth Southgate, whose name is being sung by the England supporters, standing up in the dugout as the Swiss go back to Sommer, all in green, away to our left. BBC Radio 5 Live, 0-0, 3 minutes played. This is Cher, closed down by Ali. England are pressing much higher up the pitch than they did against the Dutch, aren't they? As Elvedi brings it forward now. Fernandes, Xhaka. Now we can hear some Swiss voices as those in red are rising to their feet. Rodriguez on that far side gets it back just over the halfway line. Rodriguez now looks up, floats the ball forward, headed on then by Shaqiri and Danny Rose, who was actually man of the match when the two sides met at the King Power Stadium last September with the interception. And England with Alexander-Arnold on the far side are now in possession.
The Swiss started with a 3 as well, didn't they, back in September against England. England of course did as well, 3 centre-backs. It's a big afternoon and opportunity, isn't it, for the likes of Eric Dyer to really stake a claim. He's had a dodgy season, if truth be told.
The back pass there to Pickford didn't do him any favours. He's cleared the ball away, and Shaqiri offside. The shot though was fired in. But the flag had already been raised on this near side. But Jordan Pickford still did ever so well.
Yeah, good save. I didn't know it was offside at the time, but I've just been watching the way the Swiss lined up. England at times are putting 3 up against their 3, but Shaqiri's got so much time and space, and he's a player you don't give time and space.
Get to score in 2019, a little flick there from Ali, and he was unable to get past Akanji on that far side, and in fact he actually fouled Akanji, and in the sunshine free kick is taken short. Akanji, who's playing to the left of the 3 at the back for Switzerland, now brings the ball forward, plays his football for Borussia Dortmund, been troubled by a hip injury this season. After a remove there, as now Mbabu will come forward, and Mbabu makes a little run inside. Seferovic looking to turn, and Danny Rose with the tackle. Now it's with Sterling, midway through the Switzerland half. Seferovic loses out, quickly charging into that was Eric Dyer. Edmilson Fernandez, who's just recently moved from West Ham United to Mainz. Permanent move that as well, because of course he'd been out on loan at Fiorentina for the last season. Xhaka keeping the ball zipping around there, the Swiss. Rodriguez plays it in early, cleared away by Maguire. Ali lays it behind him. Lingard with a touch. Alexander-Arnold. Both sides looking to move around the ball quite quickly.
Yes, they are. When England are in possession, Jordan Pickford has the ball. You see Dele Alli moving up top, so they're 3v3 England. So they can miss out the midfield, and that's where the Harry Kane chance came from. It's not a long punt, it's a long pass.
Dyer gets the ball back from Delph. That was better. Dyer's early ball to Sterling. Cher will see it back with a back pass to Sommer. Bobbled a little bit there for the Swiss goalkeeper. All in green, and then he calmly plays the ball out to Elvedi, who just moved to the right-hand side of the penalty area, just in from the touchline. His ball forward towards Shaqiri. Danny Rose with a challenge, and it will be a Swiss throw on the halfway line. How would you rate the drive then from Porto to Guimarães this morning?
It was seamless, it was easy, wasn't it? With a good navigator.
Yeah, good navigator.
You were the driving force, weren't you?
Yeah. Glad you said that, actually, because I was just going to say to you the train station has a regular service back to Porto. If it had not been complimentary, you'd have been on it. Here is Shaqiri onto his left foot, then plays the ball to Mbabu. Mbabu with the early cross in towards Seferovic at the near post, cleared away by England, and out of it goes for a throw. 0-0.
I'll tell you what, you can't give Shaqiri that time and space. Was he 20 yards out? Looked like he could have got a shot off. Elected to go wide. It was a poor cross on the right-hand side from Mbabu.
He's complaining to the assistant on this near side. I think he thought he was fouled by Maguire from that throw. It's going to be an England throw level with the penalty area. Shaqiri is still moaning about something to the Romanian referee. As the England supporters, I don't know if you can hear it in the background, that's the new song for Harry Maguire that's really taken off inside this country, Porto.
How does it go?
Well, it's got an expletive in it, so it'd be wise not to sing it. But
Stickly with coming home.
Rose is going to take the throw for England to Lingard. Hooks it onto the chest of Kane. Elvedi then with a challenge behind him. Edmilson Fernandez under pressure, has to go back. Akanji outside the centre circle, runs and turns into Raheem Sterling. It breaks though to Edmilson Fernandez. Now to Mbabu, plays the ball forward, and Eric Dyer, who set the tone actually when you think back to that night against Spain in Seville with a crunching tackle on Ramos. Very impressive with England. He's just played the ball long downfield towards Dele Alli. The Swiss though have tied it up, and it's now with Akanji on that far side.
A good side, Switzerland. Maybe like an outstanding. Shaqiri's very dangerous and he's getting a lot of space today. Probably like a couple of real top quality players, but they're a well organised side, very comfortable in possession.
With his record though, I mean, you can't be a cart horse, can you, if you score that amount of goals in Portugal, Chris Sutton?
No, and he has actually scored in this very stadium this season, as you well know. Benfica won here back in January, 1-0, scored the winner.
Yeah, Vitória Guimarães, as you know, are the team that play here, and I'm sure you know that they finished 5th in the Portuguese league this season as well. I actually came here to this stadium when Bolton Wanderers were in Europe in the UEFA Cup 2005 under Sam Allardyce. It finished 1-1. Ricardo Vazte scored a late equaliser as Harry Kane heads it on to Dele Alli. Alli getting forward, looks to try and get away from Mbabu, who goes to ground after getting goal side. Free kick to Switzerland, 0-0.
He's very athletic, Mbabu. Made the most of that challenge from
I'm
Ali.
just pleased he's got back into the stadium after Ronaldo took him out of the stadium. But he had them tricks the other night. He had to pay to get back in.
That was phenomenal, wasn't it, Dennis?
Oh. Cristiano Ronaldo, who'll be in action later on in the Estadio Dragao for the final of the Nations League. We've got the Canadian Grand Prix for you though this evening from 7 o'clock. Jenny Gow will be presenting. That'll be followed by 6:06, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of calls about the Women's World Cup. All the build-up from Nice from 4 o'clock ahead of that 5 o'clock kick-off. England against Scotland in Group D.
You'll be watching that, won't you? Driving programme.
Cher plays it long. Reaches Freuler. Freuler, first time volley, steadied himself before hitting it off his left foot, and it was a comfortable height really for Jordan Pickford.
Well, that seemed too easy. One ball in the left-hand channel. Freuler, decent run, got beyond the England midfield and back line, and it just sat up, and he got a decent contact on it, but straight at Pickford from 20 yards.
We're going to require a new navigator going back home. Chris Waddle's on the train. England with Dyer. Leaves it now for Sterling, bursts forward, tried to thread it through towards Jesse Lingard on that right-hand side. Shaqiri opens the ball up to Mbabu. The right wing back for Switzerland is over the halfway line with his dreadlocks and his bright red shirt to match his luminous boots of yellow and orange. And now it's to the captain Xhaka, and Akanji passes the ball to the far side, the left for Rodriguez. Rodriguez coming forward, central area now, midway through the England half, and then goes back as England had everybody back behind the ball bar the captain, Harry Kane. Akanji plays it forward, and Danny Rose attacks that and heads the ball forward, gets plenty of distance on it too. Elvedi though will play it back and share to Akanji. For Switzerland, we've been playing for 11.5 minutes. BBC Radio 5 live for the Nations League here in Portugal. Third, fourth place playoff. Seferovic dropping into the centre circle, out to Mbabu, gets forward, he's on this right side.
Yeah, they fluctuated, didn't they, the other night, the Swiss, from a back four to three centre-halves, and he got up nice and high, and he has done in this game. Of course, they're a back three, he's a right wing-back. England, very narrow three in the middle of the park, Dyer and Delph and Lingard.
What England at Chris Waddle have tried to do in this game, do you think what they didn't do against the Dutch will be pleasing, satisfying Gareth Southgate?
I still don't think they look after the ball, and if you're playing total football, sometimes you've got to go backwards, and if you look England, they seem to get time on the ball, but they seem to want to force it instead of thinking wait. It's like they just give a ball away unnecessarily. For me, have another pass. You look at the Swiss and you look at Holland when they're coming up the park, they don't go if they see something on it, if it's really obvious a little, but majority of the time it's we wait, we bide with time and we'll see. I think we give the ball away too cheaply.
The voice of Chris Waddle, Chris Sutton with us here as well on BBC Radio 5 Live, 13 minutes played. But he was talking, Chris, about that passage of play. It was Alexander-Arnold who played it early down the right-hand side for Jesse Lingard.
Well, I think the performance is more important than the result today. I really do. It was harrowing, the nature of the defeat against the Dutch, but I know it's a third and fourth place playoff game, but we want to see the team, this England team, really evolving and coming on and finishing the season strongly.
The thing is about this game is that this will be probably the last serious test before England book their place in Euro 2020. And I'm not being presumptuous there with England, because you look at the other teams in the group as Dele Alli comes forward, just bobbles away from him. Harry Kane to Sterling. Sterling shoots straight at Sommer, and then it's cleared away by Mbabu as Dele Alli threw himself at that for the rebound inside the 6-yard area.
Good counter-attack by England. They've won the ball high, bit of tempo about them. And you fancy Sterling, the form he's been in this season, to score that. He hasn't hit it cleanly. It's
a lovely pass from Harry Kane, really incisive pass, and Sterling hits it straight at Sommer, from 10 yards out, left-hand side, inside the box. I think he was trying to feed it into the far corner. He got it wrong.
But England still remain top of Group A, and even if the Czech Republic beat Montenegro on Monday, because they beat Bulgaria on Friday night when the qualifiers were taken back, because of the goal difference, England will still remain top of Group A before they resume their 2020 qualifiers against Bulgaria at home on the 7th of September, then Kosovo in Southampton. They'll be away to the Czech Republic and Bulgaria in October, but England will qualify unless they have a major collapse, which I don't think will happen, such as their superiority in the group. So that's why it's important, and they're playing against sides such as Switzerland, who are ranked 8th in the world. Harry Kane, little flick off. Lingard comes forward, overruns it though on the edge of the area. It's played away by Cher. He picks out Shaqiri in some space. Delph's going to try and run back with him. Shaqiri though carries the ball midway through the England half, and then he was looking for Seferovic, but there was Harry Maguire just to step forward and win the ball. But Gareth Southgate and Steve Holland are in conversation at the moment, as it's 0-0.
Be a worry how easily Shaqiri got on the ball in behind the England midfield. But Seferovic doesn't have that pace, does he, for that incisive ball. And the England centre back should be able to cope with him in that respect.
There's that ditty about Harry Maguire again. That tune's going to be inside the head all night now, I think. The way that the England supporters are singing it. Maguire to Delph. The Leicester defender gets it back from Fabian Delph. And he's patient, picks out the Manchester City player once more. Eric Dyer has miscontrolled the ball. Xhaka to Shaqiri. Coming forward now is Freuler. The return ball from Seferovic, and it runs away and into the arms of Jordan Pickford, all in yellow, bright yellow, away towards our right-hand side. 16 minutes played, 5 live, 0-0.
Yeah, but that touch from Dyer was Dyer, and it allowed the Swiss to break, and an opportunity wasted.
In the sunshine, Xhaka back to Rodriguez. We talked the other night about not wanting extra time in that second semi-final. They certainly wouldn't want extra time for this third, fourth place playoff, would they? Judging by the way that Chris Waddle's just looked at me, the answer would be no. Freuler, far side the left.
I'm just looking for the car journey going back.
Akanji just outside the centre circle, has to turn back to Cher. Harry Kane, the captain, will run at the Newcastle defender, who in turn goes back to Sommer, but patiently then plays it forward. Oh, Cher has committed himself, but then Delph in the challenge has caught Cher, and the referee from Romania has actually blown his whistle, has given the free kick, and Cher has got away from that, has got lucky with that one.
There's nothing wrong with that for me. It's a challenge. I think he stayed down and he's got the free kick for it. He's still down now, but well, I'm not to say where you finished, where you hurt actually, but he was lucky to get away with that. He overrun the ball.
That'll be a bit short for Cher.
Well, if he could just turn back time.
He's a player who's certainly been in the wars for his country this year. When you think back, he suffered concussion when they played Georgia in March, but he's been a very good signing for Newcastle United. 4 goals in his 28 appearances, and it's good to see him back on his feet, although I would imagine his eyes might be watering a little bit. 0-0, 18 minutes played, and his name is being sung by the 3 chunks of Swiss support in the lower tier of this stadium, the Stadio Dom Afonso Henriques Stadium, named after the first king of Portugal, who came from the city, Chris Sutton.
Allegedly.
Why do you say allegedly?
Because that's not a fact.
And are you disputing it?
Well, it's true.
Where did he come from then?
Well, it's not certain he came from here. That's all I'm saying. So,
what did you say?
Slightly disappointing from you.
Do you trust your sources? That's what you said to me on Wednesday night. Sommer floats it forward. Cher is back and able to resume. They're back up to their full quota after getting treatment on the side of the pitch. Mbabu on this near side. Forward to Shaqiri. Maguire gets the challenge in first. Out of play it goes for a throw. In that steep 2-tiered double-decker stand, which is actually separate It was actually adjoining the other three sides with office block buildings, where white office blocks in either corner, and then the rest of the stadium is almost like a horseshoe shape here inside Guimarães. 0-0. Gomez at the heart of the England defence to Maguire.
I've never seen a horseshoe that shape.
You look at the aerial image, these three stands look like a horseshoe.
Yes, they're very narrow feet.
Gomez goes back to Pickford. I can't wait for the next 2.5 minutes to tick by, and I can hand over to our correspondent John Murray. Gomez plays it forward. Delph. The tempo of the game has dropped, hasn't it?
Oh, you've got to say, it's the third and fourth game this now, isn't it? There's nothing about it. We've had a couple of chances, but really it's so slow.
But there were passages of play which were a little bit earlier.
That just about sums it up, doesn't it? An easy pass for Trent Alexander-Arnold to control from Gomez. It just slipped under his foot. Real lack of urgency. You think, with the nature of the changes, you think that, these England players, given the opportunity, there are places up for grabs.
Gomez hooks it away. Alexander-Arnold gets an England throw as he was charged down by Freuler on that far side. Level with his own penalty area in front of that plethora of St George's flags. Although Chris Waddle did point out that one of them, where is it now to my right, is from, there it is, a St George's flag with FC Cologne, the German club, over on that far side. But they're all over there, from Derby, from Coventry, from Bradford, from Sheffield United, Bristol City, West Bromwich Albion. Everywhere you look, must be well over 100. 0-0. Alexander-Arnold to take the free kick, and he goes back to Gomez. It was tight when they met in September at Leicester City. Just the one goal between the two, and we might well have just one goal here, because chances aren't being created. But we can go to the Oval. India-Australia, get an update from that World Cup contest with Nikesh Rugani.
Yes, and India have just finished their innings here on 352 for 5. Shikhar Dhawan, the top scorer, with 117 at the top of the order from 109 deliveries. Half centuries also from Rohit Sharma with 57, and Virat Kohli, the captain, 82 from 77. We saw a nice little cameo at number 5 from Hardik Pandya, the pinch hitter, sent up the order, 48 from 27. MS Dhoni rolled back the years as well with 27 from 14. So a flurry towards the end of the innings, getting India up to what they would hope would be a match-winning total. The chase will get underway in a short while, with Australia requiring 353 for victory.
Thanks, Nikesh. The Women's World Cup, by the way, we'll have all the build-up to England against Scotland, but this is the Nations League. We're midway through the first half, and the man stepping behind the wheel now is John Murray.
Thanks, Ian. Yes, we will be in Nice at half-time with Caroline Barker as Danny Rose slides into a challenge with Mbabu, and I think there was an element of a high foot there from Danny Rose as he went in for the challenge. And yeah, it is a yellow card, first yellow card of the match from the Romanian referee, Mr. Hatajan, and a free kick for the Swiss. Chris Waddle.
Well, he had to go for it, didn't he? And he's actually got half. He has played a bit of the ball, so he's a little bit unfortunate to get yellow, I think.
I think it was the way that he went in and also slid through on it. So yellow card. I must say there's a very sleepy feel to this early afternoon here in Guimarães. Beautiful part of the world, northern Portugal. It is, you have gently undulating hills all around this part of Portugal, lush, green, wooded hills, and it is a beautiful afternoon. High clouds, patches of blue sky, warm sunshine, temperature around about 20 degrees, I would say, and 0-0 in the third place playoff. We might be sitting here for some time. Extra time and penalties is a possibility, as the Swiss in the red shirts with the white shorts and the red socks go back into their own half, and Akanji sees it all the way back to Sommer, who's made a couple of decent saves so far. Harry Kane early on with a chip from the right side of the penalty area that he touched onto the crossbar, and then Sterling, when really Sterling should have done better from the position that he was in, shot straight at the goalkeeper. Seferovic now taking the ball down but shooting wildly wide, off balance into the lower tier where most of the England fans are. To our right, Chris Waddle.
Yep, Elvedi with a 50 or 45, 50 odd pass, which he should never get on the end of. The back four falling asleep. But I've got to say, this is a game which we came and we thought, let's go and get a result and let's have a high tempo, let's play how we can play, and it's been such a slow game.
I was very unhappy about Seferovic getting in Gareth Southgate up off the bench. A player with a real lack of pace as Seferovic has shouldn't be getting in like that. It's too easy.
England playing from right to left. Here's Delph. Delph slipping the ball forward, but beyond Dele Alli. Shared, turns it back to Sommer, but didn't get the touch on that he wanted, so Ali continued his run. The goalkeeper Sommer was able to clear for the Swiss, and now here's Freuler away from the halfway line down the left-hand side. Seferovic waits on the edge of the penalty area. Freuler plays it back behind him to Rodriguez of AC Milan. Now Granit Xhaka of Arsenal hits a shot. Well, mishits a shot. Pulls it well wide of the near post from 25 yards.
Yeah, that wasn't great from Xhaka. The opportunity was there, but his weaker right foot, Xhaka, pulled it horribly wide.
Where England are playing, Chris Waddle, Delph and Dyer tend to drop back alongside each other, and then Ali and Sterling and Lingard are quite narrow there behind Harry Kane.
Well, they're only really playing one up front, Switzerland, aren't they? So Delph and Dyer should be picking Shaqiri up, one of them, when he drops in that little pocket, but they don't. They're just playing like two midfield players. I know they're playing a little bit deep, but they've been going and joining in, and look, they're not really they don't mark anybody. They just play in a zone.
Jesse Lingard with a foul on Granit Xhaka. That's going to be a yellow card as well. The referee races over and pulls out his yellow card, and Xhaka just stepped on his left foot. Jesse Lingard, yellow card.
Oh, I think that's a little bit mistimed, and in the nature of those fouls these days, you do see a card. It may be slightly unfortunate, Jesse Lingard.
I've never been terribly sure about third, fourth place playoffs in any tournament.
They shouldn't be. Should never do it.
And listen, you and I have seen some decent ones over the years, but you've played in one.
They shouldn't. The players just can't win it, can you? So you think, played with chance.
When you're knocked out, you want to go home, don't you? That's a simple fact of the matter. England with the ball at the back.
Some people like medals, John.
Well, Alexander Arnold chips it away towards the halfway line. Third place medals?
Well, third place is better than fourth. At least there's something to put in your trophy room,
if you've got one. The ball's with Cher at the back, up towards Fernandez. And now back to Fabian Cher of Newcastle United, winning his 50th cap for Switzerland here on this lovely afternoon. Out to the right-hand side, and Barbo hoists it back in field, but onto the head of Delph, who's winning his 20th cap, Fabian Delph, for England. I'm told by our producer George that back in 2008, Fabian Delph, when he was playing in League One for Leeds United, was 50-1 to win 20 caps for England, and some individual did actually put a bet on that, so we'll be collecting. Here is Sterling, back to Dyer. Must be a serious punter if you're putting on bets like that, as Sterling is fouled, and ironic cheers from the England supporters after England have won the free kick from the challenge by Nico Elvedi, the central defender. Dele Alli on the right hand side gets it back from Sterling. Ali then back to Joe Gomez, Champions League winner, came on for the final few seconds in Madrid last Saturday night, last weekend. Here's Maguire now, carrying the ball forward as he likes to do. Turns though, checks back and gives it back to Delph. Delph rolls the ball to the right hand side. Alexander Arnold, the other Champions League winner in the England team, his cross cleared away on the edge of the area by Cher, and it bounces away downfield, and Gomez actually gets there ahead of Seferovic, and rather than going back to Pickford rather imperiously, a little bit like Van Dijk, just flicks it across with an outstretched right boot to Harry Maguire. Kane near the centre circle, now to the right hand side. Now Alexander Arnold's got a bit of space in front of him. Here's the ball now on the right hand side from Sterling, in towards the edge of the penalty area, and Sterling, who is inside the 6-yard box, from the cross from Alexander Arnold, couldn't get any sort of touch on it, might have just glanced it.
Oh, I think he's offside. I wonder whether the flag would have gone up, but that ball right on the money. What a fantastic crosser of the ball Alexander Arnold is, but Sterling completely missed it. Anyway, right-footed, 6 yards, an air shot.
Big chance, might have been called off. Ball played over the top for Shaqiri, but he won't reach that, Shaqiri. And actually the ball bounces out of play for a throw-in in the left back.
I think it was just a fraction off. The great ball in. Didn't keep his eye on it anyway, but I think it was just a fraction offside.
Yeah, and classic Alexander-Arnold as well.
Yeah, he has a great cross of the ball.
So still 0-0. Switzerland 0, England 0, BBC Radio 5 Live. If you want to listen to what sounds like it could be a really good game at the Cricket World Cup, that's over on 5 Live Sports Extra. Indeed, every ball of every match is on 5 Live Sports Extra, BBC Sport website and app. And you can watch in-play highlights as well throughout the tournament. India 352 for 5 in their 50 overs against Australia. The French Open tennis final will be underway shortly, if it isn't already, between Rafa Nadal and Dominic Thiem. We'll keep you, in fact, we'll tell you what's happening there now from Jonathan Overend, who's in Paris.
Yes, we've had 3 games, John, but it's lasted 18 minutes, and already the signs are that this could be an absolute classic French Open final. Nadal, the 11-time champion, leads by 2 games to 1, but Thiem, the 4th seed from Austria, is standing toe-to-toe with him. This could be really good. Nadal 2-1 first set.
And where is the commentary on that, Jonathan? I've just lost track of it all.
The commentary is available right now through the BBC Sport website and app.
Well done. And that's Greg Rosetsky, who's alongside Russell Fuller with the commentary. Also, we've got commentary on the Canadian Grand Prix tonight, around about 7:10. And of course, England-Scotland at the Women's World Cup is rather the centrepiece of 5 Live Sport today. We'll be back to Nice at half-time with Caroline Barker. Here's Mbabu for Switzerland, down the right-hand side, cuts back inside Dyer. Rose in with a challenge, plays it back to Fernandez. Fernandez now, wasteful ball, overhit it. Shaqiri stares at the ground, not impressed. Goal kick.
And Babu should have crossed it. When he got on the other side of Danny Rose, he had a great angle to put it in, and he checked back.
Half an hour played, Switzerland 0, England 0. What have you thought of it so far, Chris Sutton?
It's all gone a little bit flat when you think of the early chance from Harry Kane hitting the crossbar. I don't think there's been enough urgency in England's play. They haven't passed the ball quickly enough through the midfield. I mean, no rain today, so the pitch is a little bit sticky. They're just taking too long on the ball, England.
There's Dele Alli playing it forward. Bounces back to Sterling on the halfway line. He holds off the challenge. Dele Alli then. Now to the left-hand side to Danny Rose. But it's rather stuttering, this England build-up. Delph, Sterling. Now Sterling on a weaving run. In comes the challenge from Elvedi. Fernandez is able to take it away from Dele Alli. And now Mbabu is being put under pressure by Eric Dyer. Goes back to Elvedi, who wins a throw-in. It bounced back onto Elvedi, and it's out of play for a throw-in to England. Rose takes it quickly. Dele Alli, 3 England players close to the ball. Eric Dyer, though, plays it infield. Lingard is there. Jesse Lingard, who we all thought last Thursday night had scored the goal to take England to the final, but VAR intervened. Sterling loses out to Elvedi, and now the tall Edemilson Fernandez, who is off to Germany. Shaqiri turns it back in field. Rose with a challenge, and England have got it back. Dyer now to Lingard in the centre circle. Little touch off from the right heel of Sterling. Danny Rose, and then Delph with a touch. Gomez peels away out to the right. Gomez wants it, but Delph turns back to his left and gives it to Rose. Rose just in front of where the Swiss coach Vladimir Petkovic is standing with his steely grey hair, black suit. Dyer through the middle. A little run from Lingard, then it's nodded forward by Sterling, and then Akanji with a stretch on the edge of the penalty area. The Swiss just about scrambled it away, and Elvedi heads it down a little short to Mbabu, who was challenged by Dele Alli. So England have taken up possession again. Rose chips one over the top down the left-hand side. Dele Alli takes it down. Now Delph centrally. Delph to the right-hand side to Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold up against Rodriguez, but turns back and gives it to Delph. Delph on his left foot, back to his right. Alexander-Arnold just took his eye off the ball, but still has possession. He's on his left foot though, so plays it back towards the halfway line. And Gomez, the Swiss, with everyone behind the ball. Switzerland 0, England 0. BBC Radio 5 Live here in Guimarães. And Harry Maguire turning it all the way back to Pickford.
It's good possession, and they're not trying to force it, which they have done on many occasions so far, but they've been in good areas. For me, you get a certain area, you should put the ball in.
Chris Waddle, England international with 62 caps, with us here for the commentary on 5 Live, and Chris Sutton as well, League Championship winner in Scotland and England. Chris Waddle, the navigator. Not the most noted navigator, of course, in Portugal, as Dyer plays it forward towards Kane, who chests it down. I'm thinking, of course, about Henry the Navigator, the famous Henry the Navigator, many, many centuries ago. Sterling taking it on, plays it forward towards Lingard. Now here on the right-hand side, Delph looks to Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold with a cross, and Dele Alli with a header, 6 yards out, a free header, and it's over the top by a matter of inches.
Well, that's exactly what Chris Waddle was talking about. Get the ball in the wide areas. When you have the opportunity, put it in. And Alexander-Arnold, level with the 18-yard box, out on the right-hand touchline. A brilliant ball, right on the money. And it's a free header from Dele Alli, 7 yards. He should bury that, and it goes a yard over the bar. Really big opportunity missed from Dele Alli and England.
Yeah, he's just got, if he heads it down, I think he scores. The power, the pace coming from the cross, he doesn't really need to put any power on it. If he heads it down into the ground, I think it's 1-0 England. But great opportunity.
It's had quite a soporific feel to it, but England should be in front, shouldn't they?
Yeah, they've had two. Well, Harry Kane at the bar. Sterling should have done better here, and Dele Alli definitely should have done better there.
Well, offside flag went up, and then play continued for Switzerland down the left-hand side. No, that was odd.
No, I think it was quite right, because Rodriguez was ahead of the ball. He was offside. But then I think I don't know who is Freuler, who crossed the ball in, who came from an onside position. Hence why the wave play on.
Freuler to Rodriguez. Rodriguez's low cross, cleared by Lingard. Got there just ahead of Fernandes. And England clear it away downfield. Dele Alli will allow it to roll out of play. Should have scored there, Dele Alli, 6-7 yards out. And it bounces out of play on the halfway line. So it is Switzerland 0, England 0. Familiar with Henry the Navigator, Chris Sutton?
I'm not. He's not one I'm familiar with.
Believe it
John,
or not,
if you want to elaborate.
He was the son, one of the children of King John I and Philippa of Lancaster. Can you believe it?
There you go. Is that King John or King John?
It is King John. We've established that you were right about King John of Portugal. For those who don't get that, we were talking about this on air the other evening. They were the founders of Porto. Here is Harry Maguire, believed to be the founders of Porto. Lingard, now Danny Rose plays it infield, who's caught late there by Mbabu. Dele Alli bounces off Kane back towards the centre field. Eric Dyer. Rose climbs to his feet, looks at his wrist, but play continues with England 40 yards out. Dyer goes for a high crossfield pass, too high above Alexander-Arnold, and it's out of play for a throw-in to Switzerland. The referee actually is going to come across and just have a little word with Mbabu, and does that universal hand signal.
That's your last chance.
Yeah, to explain that that challenge on Danny Rose, anything like that, and he'll be the next player into the referee's notebook. Switzerland 0, England 0. Back to Nice at half-time. All the coverage, all the build-up for the England-Scotland World Cup match in Nice. We'll have commentary from 5 o'clock. Vicky Sparks with Rachel Brown-Finnis and Pat Nevin there inside the stadium in Nice. Switzerland bringing the ball away from the back. Here's Seferovic, top scorer in the Portuguese league this season with Benfica. Back to Granit Xhaka, captain's armband on, the Arsenal man. He slips it forward now. It opens up. Seferovic with the shot, but it's blocked. Actually, the two Swiss players, Seferovic and Freuler, rather left it to one another, and in the end Seferovic took charge.
Well, I think that Freuler thought he was offside. There's a very, very tight one, but Seferovic certainly wasn't. Freuler should have got out of the way earlier, but in fact it's a good block by Harry Maguire in the end, and it goes behind for a Swiss corner. The hesitation that cost the Swiss there.
Both England central defenders were able to recover. So it's a corner to Switzerland from the left-hand side. that is about to be swung in. This is the first corner of the match. Still 0-0. BBC Radio 5 Live. 3 players around the penalty spot. Here's the delivery, an outswinger. It's over Akanji. It bounced down. 1 or 2 shouts inside the penalty area, but it's cleared away by England, and England will counter. They'll bring it forward to Sterling, who takes the ball down on the halfway line. Ali's in an offside position, so Sterling keeps possession, and that meant that Babu could come and get a touch on the ball and take it away from England, and that I think demonstrate that lack of zip.
Not just that, it's about decisions. We were talking about John Stones making mistakes in the last game, and it's all about decisions. It's not about coaching, it's about decisions. That was poor.
Switzerland 0, England 0. So let's get back to Paris and Jonathan Overend.
Well, we've had the first break of the final, and it goes to the outside of the challenger, Dominic Thiem, who's just played a sensational 5th game of the first set to break Nadal to 30. 2 exceptionally long rallies, which you would normally expect Nadal to win on clay, but it's the Austrian who has won them and breaks for 3-2. To win this title, John, he had to make a strong start, and he has. Thiem leads 3-2 first set.
Yeah, the man who proves that there is an I in Thiem. Here's Delph to Lingard. Lingard on the left-hand side, back towards Delph. Dele Alli's available, but he goes to the left-hand side towards Rose. Rose now to Lingard, left-hand side, full-back position. The cross hits defender Elvedi and bounces behind for England's first corner from the left.
Well, this is where England are normally strong, set pieces, especially Maguire.
Yes, Harry Maguire with the head that they've been singing about all over Porto. And here he comes up from the back.
What were they singing about his head?
They were singing about his head, what he drinks and the size of his head. So here's Alexander Arnold, who comes across, and we're seeing the World Cup style formation. We didn't see this the other evening. The England set up with 5 players lined up, one behind the other, next to the penalty spot, 4 Swiss in front of them. Alexander Arnold's corner to the near post is headed away by Mbabu and out of play. Unusually, an England set piece, a corner, wasn't targeted at Harry Maguire. Throw in, Rose takes it. Less than 5 minutes to go to half-time, still 0-0 here, but England have had enough chances to be leading in this match. Kane chip that was touched onto the crossbar, good chances, a couple of them for Raheem Sterling actually, and the best of all, the Dele Alli header 6 yards out that he should have buried. Dele Alli, who has scored 1 goal in his last 22 England appearances, incidentally, and that was, Chris, in Samara in the World Cup quarter-final. Remember Samara? Almost a year ago. Here's Dyer. Dyer then puts in the challenge, but it's held up by Akanji. Lingard gets it down. Akanji, though, is able to turn it back towards Rodriguez in the left-back position, who wins a throw-in off Lingard. Switzerland 0, England 0. Chris Sutton?
Yeah, I think Eric Dyer again giving the ball away. I don't think he's been careful enough in possession. You're right, England should be ahead. In the balance of chances, they have had some big opportunities. They've just not been ruthless.
Switzerland 0, England 0. Russia, the World Cup almost a year ago, and 1 year this next Wednesday will be the start of Euro 2020. And Barbo bringing it forward. Now here's Fernandez on the right-hand side, but Delft as well, and Fernandez ends up in a pile on the ground. Danny Rose brings it away up towards Harry Kane, the England captain, holding off Fabian Schär. Now Alexander Arnold joins in, sends a high ball cross field towards the edge of the area, but Elvedi's underneath it, got a good sight on it and headed it back to goalkeeper Sommer. All the time as well, by the way, during the course of this match, just as was the case here on Thursday night, even though it was much cooler. Just next to our commentary position, we have dozens of little brown birds flying around, swooping. They're up, they're down, they're all over the place, and we're still not sure exactly what they are. There's a school of thought that says that they are
birds, aren't they?
They are birds, yeah, we can confirm that. They are believed to be birds. In fact, they are birds. They're not believed to be birds. And they're not swifts, they're not swallows. I think they might be a martin of some variety. But they're brown, and they've got sort of whitey brown tail feathers.
Answers on a postcard.
Answers on a postcard. Here's Lingard from the right-hand side. Cleared away, out of play on the far side. If you know the birds of the Dom Afonso Henriquez Stadium, 85058 on the text. Switzerland 0, England 0.
I know the game's bad, but it's turned into Springwatch now.
That's popular, Chris. Think of all the young listeners we'll get. Here's Rose, now to Sterling on the left-hand side. Sterling, back to Rose, and then Rose goes back towards the halfway line to Harry Maguire. No John Stones in the team, no Barkley either after the mistakes of the other evening. Dyer, back to Rose. Rose's ball forward is headed down by Elvedi, and then it deflects out of play for a throw-in to the Swiss, 10 yards inside their own half. So still 0-0 in the Nations League third place playoff here in Guimarães. I think the stakes are rather higher with you in Paris, Jonathan Overend.
And good luck if you have the temerity to irritate and break the champion Rafael Nadal. Chances are he won't like it, as he's just proved. Nadal, having been broken himself, strikes back immediately, and we're level at 3 games all first set.
Jordan Pickford launches a ball away downfield. The commentary on the Nadal team is right now available to listen to via the BBC Sport website and app. Here is Fernandes, the Germany-bound, now former West Ham man who's been on loan at Fiorentina this season, and he concedes a throw-in.
You wouldn't be signing him after his first half.
No, well,
Fernandes.
Not the only one. Dyer infield towards Lingard. Lingard, Dele Alli tried to find Kane, chested forward by Dyer after it was cleared away. Maguire stoops forward and heads it back to Rose, it as well gets away from Fernandes, lifts a ball to the edge of the area. Harry Kane placed a hand on the shoulder of Akanji, who crashed to the ground and won a free kick for Switzerland. 0-0. Chris Waddle, I've seen that look on your face before.
Well, I know England should be winning with the chances they've had, but as a game,
poor. Extra time and penalties are a distinct possibility.
Go straight to tennis.
After the first half of Switzerland 0, England 0. But England should be ahead, Chris Sutton. We've said that, the chances they've had.
Yeah, they absolutely should be. Harry Kane unlucky really early on, first couple of moments, when broke down the right-hand channel and chipped the goalkeeper, who got the faintest of touches onto the bar, but the big chance is really Sterling. Got 10 yards out, left-footed, hit it straight at Sommer and Dele Alli. That was a golden opportunity. Great ball in from the right-hand side from Alexander-Arnold, and Ali headed over. If he heads it down, he scores. England should be in front, but in truth, it's all been a little bit lacklustre.
Yes, Switzerland 0, England 0. So join us again for more third place playoff action in about 10 minutes time. But we're going to take you now from Guimarães to the south of France, to the Riviera, and to Caroline Barker.
Can you add another level of jealousy in your voice, please, John Murray? Thank you, everyone. We're back for the third place playoff in a bit then. We're here then, switching locations to the Stade de Nice. Sprinklers have been on just a few moments ago ahead of the 5 o'clock kickoff as England take on Scotland, the first game in Group D here at the Women's World Cup. We'll have a quick look ahead to this one, be it the Cricket World Cup 2 and the Men's Open final in France in the next 10 minutes. But first, on 5 Live, let's get the news at 10 to 4, here with Helen Place.
On digital, BBC Sounds, smart speaker and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
5 Live news headlines. I'm Helen Place. Michael Gove has again said taking cocaine in the 90s was a mistake he profoundly regrets. The Conservative leadership hopeful is trying to turn attention to his policies, but was asked about his drug use on BBC One's Andrew Marr show. Here's our political correspondent, Susanna Mendonca.
It distracts attention, certainly in terms of him trying to win the support of other Conservative MPs. It distracts attention from the things that he wants to be talking about. He wants to be talking about his plans for what he would do if he was Prime Minister on things like VAT. Earlier on in the interview, he was talking about the issue of whether or not we leave on the 31st of October and making the point that he'd delay it by weeks or days if it meant that you could get a good deal.
Boris Johnson says if he becomes Conservative leader, he'll refuse to pay the £39 billion Brexit divorce bill unless the EU offers better terms. Cabinet Ministers James Cleverly, James Brokenshire, Chris Grayling and Alan Cairns say they're all backing him. 2 actors have had stones thrown at them on their way to a theatre in Southampton. The women who were appearing in a play about a gay woman at the NST Campus Theatre. Hampshire Police says it's received a report of homophobic abuse. Hundreds of thousands of people have taken to the streets of Hong Kong to protest against a new extradition law. If it gets the go-ahead, suspected criminals will be sent on trial on mainland China. Our reporter is Danny Vincent.
Critics of the bill say that Hong Kong is facing a slow-motion erosion of its rights. They see the proposal as a threat to the former British colony's judicial independence. But supporters have accused critics of politicising the proposal. Many in Hong Kong fear that the city is losing the freedoms it was promised when it was returned to China 22 years ago.
A woman has died after being struck by lightning in the Highlands. 55-year-old Isabel Baitotas from Selkirk was among a group of 7 walkers near Ben Nevis yesterday. Another woman is in hospital. Astronomers say they are 98% convinced they found the lunar module from the Apollo 10 mission 50 years after it was released into space. It was used during a practice for the moon landings.
The best live sport.
Join 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra for the US Open. Sends it into the cup. Everyone's standing, roaring around the 18th green.
What an amazing story this is.
This year, the championship is being held at the stunning Pebble Beach links on the Californian coast as the biggest names in the golfing world line up to take on this legendary course.
The best players in the world are up there trying to win a US Open.
Just brushes it. Oh, yes!
US Open Golf.
Coverage starts Thursday on 5 Live and 5 Live Sports Extra.
This is 5 Live Sport with Caroline Barker.
Don't panic, it's just the heat. It's actually 10-3 back home, 10-4 here in Nice. We're here ahead of the first Group D match at the Women's World Cup. England up against Scotland. That's a 5 o'clock kickoff back home in the UK. We'll have team news and build-up after the second half in the Nations League third place playoff. Still 0-0 in that one between England and Switzerland. Dele Alli with the best of the chances. Harry Kane, though, had one off the post. Let's swing around some of the other sport that's happening this Sunday afternoon then. The men's final at the French Open underway. Rafa Nadal not having it his own way against Dominic Thiem. Jonathan Overend's there.
It's a brilliant final so far, Caroline. It really isn't. We've played for 40 minutes and we're still only midway through the first set. It is 3 games all with a break each way. Nadal serving at the moment and has just had to save another break point on his own serve just now. Thiem, the Austrian, with his slices and his spins and his slides across the clay, is more than a match for Nadal on the early evidence here. Remember, they played the final 12 months ago and Nadal was the comfortable winner, but Thiem has learned from that day and has returned now a much stronger opposition. 3-3 first set.
Thanks, Jonathan. India, Australia underway at the Men's Cricket World Cup. Nikesh Raghani's there.
Yes, and the Australians are just getting their chase underway. They'll need 353 to beat India here at the Oval after the Indians won the toss and chose to bowl first. Shikhar Dhawan top scored for India with 117 from just 109 balls. His opening partner, Rohit Sharma, played a good hand as well, 57. Virat Kohli, the skipper, with 82. And then a couple of little cameos towards the end of the innings from Hardik Pandya with 48 from 27 and MS Dhoni 27 from 14, getting India up to what is a pretty good total on this wicket. It does look a good wicket here. It's been pretty sunny all day at the Oval. Mel Jones from the TMS team is alongside me. Mel, this is going to have to be the biggest chase in Cricket World Cup history if Australia to get over the line. How do you see it going?
Well, I tell you what, they're going to have to start exceptionally well. I look back at Australia against their win against the West Indies. They'd lost 4 for 50. They've done that 4 times in World Cup history. They've won every game. So if you then transpose that into this, they'll probably do it with 45 overs, 5 overs to spare.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. I mean,
being slightly optimistic there.
In terms of the Indian innings, though, I mean, they were very steady early on, weren't they? 41 without loss after 10 overs, and then really accelerated through the middle part of the innings, and 352, a formidable total.
Yeah, really good game plan. They negated the pace of the left armour of Stark, and that's what they've had their issues in the past with. They set that platform, and then they knew that they had the likes of particularly a Pandya coming up earlier, which he did do today, MS Dhoni. As we see, Aaron Finch is driving nicely. Everyone got a little bit excited as it hit the stumps at the other end. So that's the platform that they laid, and it was almost a perfect one-day innings.
Absolutely, and it's going to have to be a pretty perfect one-day innings if Australia are to get over the line here. We're into the first over of the innings. Aaron Finch and David Warner, 2 key men for Australia in this chase at the crease at the moment, and Australia are 3 without loss in the first over.
Cheers, Nikesh. Coverage continues over on 5 Live Sports Extra. England's women are playing in the second one-dayer against West Indies. Henry Moran watching this one.
Afternoon, Caroline. It's been a slightly frustrating couple of hours here at Worcester. The rain came down with an hour or so of play gone, just 16 overs with England 73 for 1 at that point. Happily, the players are out in the middle now. We're back underway. The match reduced, though, to 41 overs aside. England now 110 for 2. We've just seen the dismissal of Sarah Taylor, caught at mid-off for 23. But Tammy Beaumont at the top of the order, going along very nicely indeed. 61 from 82. Just as I say that, she's out LBW. There you go. Commentator's curse for you. 110 for 3 is the England score, and I probably shouldn't say anything else.
Well, I probably should have just called you Benry Moran and we would have been all right then. No one will know. Henry, thank you back when anything happens in that one. Right, we're here in Nice, where it's all a little bit sweaty, at least for me. Rachel Brown-Finnis and Pat Nevin, ever the cool, calm, collected. We're here ahead of England, Scotland. Rach, you've been down on that pitch already. We're just watching some of the cones being laid out by the Scotland backroom staff. This is one of those ones that's going to raise the temperature.
It is indeed, and we see now the sunshine is gloriously shining down on the pitch. It wasn't earlier, it was cloudy and spots of rain, but the sunshine certainly I think will favour England, but the pitch is spectacular. Not a blade of grass that's more than probably half an inch high. It's going to be a beautiful surface for England to zip the ball around, and a perfect day for a game of football.
Pat, Shelley Kerr, Scotland boss, said that all the pressure is on England for this one.
And she's certainly trying to add as much as possible by saying that. And many of us have tried to do the same as well. Yes, OK, the expectations are much higher in England just now. Scotland can go out and enjoy this one. Hopefully have a good performance. And many people in Scotland said if they can get a draw, it would be an amazing result. But even a kind of, lose by the odd goal, it wouldn't be too bad, because the next 2 games after that are games that Scotland think they can win. But a good performance, but I would agree completely about the conditions slightly better for England. They are a fitter side generally. Really humid out there, really hot out there. It's going to have a real impact near the end of the game.
Just briefly from both of you, starting with you, Rach, what are we likely to see from England in terms of the team that's going to be out on the pitch? Any surprises, do you think?
No, I think it was documented that Tony Duggan opted out of training yesterday, or was advised not to train, so I'd be really surprised to see her start in the lineup today. But as I mentioned in the podcast yesterday, we've got very able people to come in. The likes of Beth Mead have played on that left or that right hand side of the front three, which is what I would expect England to play, 4-3-3. It'll be attacking football, it'll be short and sharp. They've been a little bit drab and a little bit stuttering in these final few warm-up games for the World Cup, so England fans will be looking for a sharp and polished performance starting today.
She's taking all your airtime. It's those elbows, those goalkeepers' elbows. Go on, straight face palm. Pat, we'll get the latest from Pat onto Scotland maybe sometime if she allows a word in for him. Let's head back though to the tennis, the French Open final. Nadal team, Russell Fuller.
Rafael Nadal leads Dominic Thiem by 4-3 in the first set. 1 break of serve apiece, and it has been the most stunning match so far. Some extraordinary rallies, very, very physical indeed. Dominic Thiem is up for it. That is an understatement. After beating Novak Djokovic over 2 days, 7-5 in the final set yesterday afternoon in 4 hours and 13 minutes, he is absolutely giving this final everything, trying to prevent Rafael Nadal from becoming the first player in history to win 12 singles titles at a single Grand Slam. And I'm watching with Greg Rosetsky, who was in a Grand Slam final himself at the US Open in 1997. This is simply breathtaking, Greg.
Yeah, I mean, this has been by far the best tennis of these championships. Thiem has been absolutely brilliant today. Got off to the early break. Rafa breaks back, had a few break points in the last game, and has done everything tactically right today, and has just competed with Rafa physically, which very, very few players have been able to do on this court here at the French Open. But this first set is huge for both players.
And when you're saying he's doing everything tactically right, what do you mean?
Well, he's going into the backhand side of obviously Rafael Nadal off the returns to be able to try to get his forehand into play. He's going cross-court forehand to Nadal's backhand, as well as bringing him forward with the drop shot, and his defensive capabilities. Alan Murray lob we've been talking about has been working well to get him back in the point as well.
He's doing everything right, but after he did get the break in the 5th game, then Nadal broke back very convincingly in the very next game. So it's one thing playing well against Rafael Nadal, it's another thing actually trying to win a set. And at the moment, Thiem, who's serving, finds himself 3-4 down, and now love 15 down on an overcast day at Roland Garros. Greg, one thing he did say before this final, after playing over 2 days in the semi-final. This is his 4th day in a row on the court that he won't be tired because he's full of adrenaline. I mean, so far that's very much the case, but we're already 47 minutes into this match. We've only played 7 games. Do you think that becomes a factor the longer we play?
I don't think so. I think it becomes a mental factor more than a physical factor. He's 25 years of age. He's one of the fittest guys out there. And if you're going to win Roland Garros, you have to be a beast. So I don't think it should affect him.
Nadal puts a backhand into the net. So here we are. We're live on the BBC Sport website and app. We probably will be for hours and hours to come, Caroline. 4 games to 3. Nadal leads. Dominic Thiem serving at 15 all and already 48 minutes on the match clock.
I've got a cheeky headphone in listening, but of course we'll be back as and when anything important happens with Russell Fuller and the team. Right, we're here in Nice then, ahead of that first game in Group D between England and Scotland at the Women's World Cup. Brazil are 1-0 up against Jamaica in the other game that's currently going on at the moment. But earlier on today, the first game of the day, bit of a surprise as Italy beat Spain 2-1 in that one. Let's head back to Portugal though. Second half on the way from the Nations League. 0-0 between England and Switzerland. We've been in the company of Ian Dennis, John Murray, Chris Sutton and Chris Waddle. But there was a moment, Mr. Sutton, when you said performance was more important than the score. Have you seen that?
Not really. I don't think it's the performance which Gareth Southgate would have wanted. I think there's been a lack of urgency, if truth be told, Caroline. But England have had the chances to go in front. They just haven't been ruthless. Hopefully, the second half there will be an improvement.
It seemed a bit slow, giving the ball away cheaply. Chris Waddle, who's the player to look to in the second half then to just try and deliver that?
Well, it's just about the tempo, really. It's they're getting a lot of balls. Switzerland are really closing them down until they get to the final third. Really, they're letting England pass the ball around them, but it's just having that urgency. And when they get it in them wide areas, when they're in a good angle to put the ball in, they have on a couple of occasions and they've nearly scored from them. So that is the way they're going to break this team down. So just urgency you need from the team.
So more urgency needed from England then. A quick reminder, we'll have the Formula 1, the Canadian Grand Prix at 7 o'clock tonight. That'll be followed by 6:06, reacting to the Women's World Cup games from today. But let's get the second half underway in Portugal in the company of Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Caroline. Neither side has made a change for the start of the second half here in the sunshine in northern Portugal. So England have Pickford in goal, a back four of Alexander-Arnold, Gomez, Maguire and Rose, midfield three of Ali, Dyer and Delph, and a front three of Lingard, Sterling and the captain Harry Kane, who has scored 17 in his last 19 starts, so he'll hope to try and maintain that form. In fact, he's been involved in a third of the 60 goals that have been scored under Gareth Southgate, 20, with 3 of those being assists. For Switzerland, Jan Sommer is in goal. It's a back three of Elvedi, Akanji and Cher of Newcastle United. The former Newcastle player Mbabu is the right wing back. Rodriguez is the left wing back as the second half is back underway. Xhaka of Arsenal and Freuler in the centre of midfield with Fernandes and then Shaqiri just playing off Seferovic. Let's go back to Paris, though, and get an update with Jonathan Overend in the tennis.
Russell's just been telling you how well Dominic Thiem has been playing today. Well, he's just been broken again by the mighty Rafael Nadal, who's now serving for the first set at 5-3. And here's the thing, you can be playing the match of your life as the world number 4, and you might not even win a set against Nadal, let alone the match. Nadal, the champion, in front 5-3, first set.
And commentary continues on the BBC Sport website and the BBC Sport app as Harry Kane punts the ball back and forces Harry Maguire to retrieve it over on that far side of the left, midway through his own half, in front of Jordan Pickford, the England goalkeeper, who's crying out for the ball to be played back to him. And eventually Harry Maguire does exactly that, as England will play from left to right at the start of this second half. Pickford tries to pick out Alexander-Arnold on this near side, but he's beaten in the air by Rodriguez, and now it's Freuler, who was just caught there by Gomez, and that will be a free kick, which Xhaka, the captain of Switzerland, is unable to take quickly, and he waits just over the halfway line as it's a very, very slow start to the second half. The England supporters, to their credit, who are here in such large numbers, are trying to raise everybody inside this stadium by making some noise, but the pace of the game at the start of the second half is probably what it's been the slowest of what was at times a soporific first 45 minutes, as John Murray said. Shaqiri then curls the ball out towards Rodriguez, and it's brought down by Rodriguez on the halfway line, plays it forward in towards Seferovic. He lays it off. Freuler now will come forward, and he's half hit that, and it's easily picked up by Jordan Pickford.
Yeah, decent move to be fair, but again, 18-20 yards out, not a good strike, very easy for Jordan Pickford. As you say, the game just the same as the first half, so slow.
Here is Lingard playing it forward to Ali midway through the Swiss half. Dele Alli, who's gone 8 internationals without a goal, really should have found the back of the net with his header, but it was over the top. And Jesse Lingard, whose last start for England was back in November against the United States. Trent Alexander-Arnold to Lingard, links up with Ali. Rodriguez actually just stepped forward there and impeded Lingard, and the referee, I think to his credit, the Romanian referee, Mr. Hazigan, actually spotted that, tried to let the game flow, and then brings it back, and England have a free kick. And let's see what they can deliver from a set piece midway through this half on the right hand side.
Ali and Lingard linking up. I think the pair of them will be glad to see the back of this season and get a good rest. But this is where England have been dangerous, and certainly were dangerous against the Dutch from their own set pieces.
Danny Rose quite rightly is saying that Freuler, you're not back the full 10 yards. So it's Rose or Alexander-Arnold to take it. It's the Liverpool defender, he plays it in, and it was too close to the goalkeeper, Jan Sommer, who, all in green, collects it. Underarm throw out to Mbabu on that far side, the right, and back to Elvedi, who's one of 5 players. It's like a Swiss enclave that they have for Borussia Mönchengladbach. So he's come back into the side, one of 2 changes. England made 7 changes from the side that was beaten by the Netherlands. Back to Paris and Jonathan Overend.
And how demoralising is this for Dominic Thiem, who has thrown everything at Rafa Nadal over a 53-minute first set, but it is first set Nadal 6-3. So if you just look at the scoreboard, you'd think Thiem had barely turned up, but he's played absolutely brilliantly, and isn't that an obvious display of Nadal's class? First set in the bag for the 11-time champion, Nadal 6-3.
Commentary continues live from Paris on the BBC Sport website for that men's French Open final. And then, of course, we'll be back in the south of France from 4 o'clock with all the build-up to England against Scotland in the Women's World Cup. 0-0 here as the England supporters voice their disapproval as a free kick is given to Switzerland on that far side.
Well, we're just getting the benefit of replay. Xhaka's it's not a free kick, he's just tore the ball away from him. He's gone down and the referee's bought it.
You know, at times when you had a little bit of fun at my expense in the first half about getting stuck in the car, and that wasn't necessarily my fault, it was the engineer's fault for advising me to drive down there. It could have been worse, you know, because there's a certain member of our commentary team who got stuck in a lift quite recently inside this stadium.
Really?
Yeah.
Any names?
No.
Well, it wasn't me. I don't think it was you. It wasn't Chris.
No. Well, we'd stayed back in Porto, of course, hadn't we? As the ball is played forward up towards Shaqiri, Edmilson Fernandez lifts it across to Mbabu. Space for the right wing back, right corner of the penalty area. In comes the cross now, headed away by Gomez. Still the danger remains, but Freuler, high foot, as he tried to bring the ball under control. And I'm led to believe it was a weight issue. The doors had closed, and then the indicator was saying it was a weight issue, which
less said the better.
Absolutely. 6
but
minutes.
I did notice last night that there were no fries ordered with his fish.
Oh right, okay, that would explain it. 6 minutes into the second half, 0-0. BBC Radio 5 Live. Delves just to the side of Maguire, rolls it forward, it goes past Dele Alli, and then Akanji will play it forward. Now it's with Rodriguez with his short ponytail up against Jesse Lingard, forces Rodriguez to turn back, finds Akanji, and now Cher of Newcastle United at the heart of the Swiss defence, and he goes back to Jan Sommer. Jan Sommer, who also plays at Borussia Mönchengladbach. He's actually had completed his 5th season there, the former Basel goalkeeper, who's been the Swiss #1 since the World Cup in 2014. Haven't got a particularly good record, though, of playing in Portugal. They haven't won in 9 games, and that includes when they were here in Euro 2004, where they suffered a 3-0 defeat against England. Harry Maguire on that far side to Raheem Sterling, the challenge from Elvedi tight behind him. Shaqiri now looks to turn. Gomez, his Liverpool teammate. The referee's played the advantage. Freuler can't find Xhaka, and coming off his goal line and making a smothering save is Jordan Pickford.
That was a really poor pass from Freuler. Xhaka was in right-hand side of the box. He shouldn't be missing that pass. An easy side foot pass, but too close to Pickford.
Alexander-Arnold plays it long, cleared away by Cher in front of Harry Kane. Akanji then with a shoulder barge, but barges over Dele Alli, gives the free kick to England, which is taken quickly. Raheem Sterling got his 50th cap the other night against the Netherlands to his Manchester City teammate Fabian Delph. Now it's with Dyer, scoops the ball forward, brought down off the right thigh by Alexander-Arnold. Ball into the penalty area, dealt with by the head of Cher. Quick throw taken by England. Alexander-Arnold with another delivery. Harry Kane's downward header, just wide. The referee, though, had blown his whistle. Good delivery, though, wasn't it?
Well, when he gets the ball in that last 30 yards of the pitch, he should put everything in there, because he's got a great delivery. There's a centre forward, Harry Kane would be. They're great deliveries. All right, he's give a foul and slight push, but that's where England's going to score.
Listen to the England supporters inside the stadium here in Guimarães, doing desperately to try and cheer on their side. I mean, I know there has been a minority who, with their unruly behaviour, a minority of 100 or so, when you're talking and singing stupid songs about German bombers, totally and utterly unacceptable. But that's out of about 18,000 that have travelled to Portugal. And here are those who are here, and again they're in their thousands, backing England to the hilt.
That's incredible.
Genuine England fans.
Yeah, incredible support and showing their faith in this England team and Gareth Southgate, and it's good to see.
9 minutes into the second half. It's still 0-0. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. There will, of course, be England supporters who are down in the south of France. Of course, Nice brings back all sorts of memories against Iceland that day in June in 2016. Up against Scotland. It'll be a lively affair for the two teams, managed by Phil Neville and Shelley Kerr. As England come forward, cross takes a deflection and actually strikes the post on that right-hand side.
Great ball in, Rose. Again, that's where they're getting the joy, down the flanks. So they put that ball in and nearly an own goal, just off the far post.
Alexander-Arnold on this right-hand side. Deep ball in towards the penalty area. The last two deliveries, not including that one, as now it's with Rose on the left-hand side. Plays it forward. Raheem Sterling into the penalty area, coming across. Both Steve Holland and Gareth Southgate applauding the balls into the penalty area as England just start to increase the tempo.
Yeah, just watching that cross from Rose, really good cross behind the Swiss back line, and Schür gets a right boot to it. I'll tell you what, it's one hell of a save from Sommer. The tiniest touch with his left hand, and he pushes it onto the post. For England, building a little bit of momentum now.
They're cheering the name of Harry Maguire. He'll try and get on the end of the corner, but it's taken short. It's rolled to Ali. Then back on that far side, swept in by Alexander-Arnold, and Maguire was making the run at the far post. Caught though by Sommer, who now twice in this game, with his fingertips, first of all touched the effort from Kane's chip onto the crossbar, and now from that outstretched leg of Cher onto the post. Shaqiri in space, cuts it back. Xhaka arriving! Good save by Jordan Pickford. Full stretch, out to his right-hand side, behind for a corner kick, 0-0, 5 Live.
Now it comes from Sommer, catching it, and away goes. Xhaka gets it, away they go. Great diagonal ball, and an early ball into the box, pulled back, spotted him. Great save.
The game's exploded into life, Chris.
Well, finally, it's what we wanted to see from one end to the other. I think it's a save Pickford should make. Everything does look fairly spectacular with him.
Rodriguez to take the corner kick for Switzerland, playing from right to left, left-footed. It's an outswinger. Rose straight to Edmilson Fernandez, who then presented the ball to Delph. Delph up towards Raheem Sterling. Now Dele Alli Break on for England. Ali on the halfway line, nudges the ball forward. Sterling's made the run. He looks to try and find Sterling, but Chris Sutton said earlier that the pitch was a little bit sticky. On Thursday night that would have run through, but you could see it held up the ball.
Yeah, right idea. Good run. Again, just need to put a little bit more weight on it.
From the throw on the right hand side, Chris Waddle and Chris Sutton with us here in Guimarães in northern Portugal in the sunshine. Delph turns, right hand side level the penalty area, back to Eric Dyer. Dyer whips this ball in, and it'll be left to Shaqiri to control the ball. Plays it short and square. Rodriguez now is going to come under pressure. England press, little turn from Rodriguez. Xhaka leaves it, and then Akanji along the ground to Mbabu. Unable to get as forward as he did against Portugal on Wednesday night in the first semi-final, where they lost by 3-1. Cher drives the ball away downfield, but it kicks on away from Shaqiri, and it's picked up by Jordan Pickford.
Yeah, the England back line nice and high, but Shaqiri unlucky there, peeling off on the diagonal. The ball was just overhit, but finally a bit of intensity in this game, a bit of snap to England's passing.
Well, England should be ahead. They've created by far the better chances, but it is still 0-0. As Akanji's header falls to Harry Kane, and then Cher will stab it away from Kane. Xhaka and Fernandes, and Mbabu nudges the ball to the former West Ham United player, and as Mbabu tries to get forward, it runs out of play for a Switzerland throw on the halfway line. Just wonder when the first changes will be made by the two managers, Messrs Southgate and Petkovic, as the substitutes are warming up away towards our right hand side. Jordan Henderson didn't start the other night because of a tight hamstring. He is unavailable, as is Marcus Rashford with his bruised foot, and Ben Chilwell is also unavailable. So really it's only 7 players who Gareth Southgate, 7 outfield players who he has to select from. Rodriguez stretching off the chest was Fernandes, and that has allowed actually Dele Alli just to come back. Touches the ball out of play though, and in front of that travelling support of Switzerland, the predominant colour is red. They have a throw, which Mbabu is going to take, and finds Shaqiri in the penalty area, lifts the ball in, brave header by Joe Gomez. They're appealing for a free kick there, the England players. The flag is up, and it will be a free kick to England. So the World Cup, India against Australia. India set 352 for 5 in their score. Nikesh Ragani has news of the Australian reply.
Yeah, the Australians watchful in their reply so far. 18 without loss into the 6th over. David Warner and Aaron Finch finding it difficult going against Jasprit Bumrah and Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. But remember, the Indians also off to a slow start in their innings. They were 41 without loss after 10 overs. Do Australia have the firepower in their middle order to pull off this Cricket World Cup record chase, which is what it will be if they get there? They're 353 required to win, 18 without loss in the 6th over.
And commentary on 5 Live Sports Extra. The tennis is on the BBC Sport website, and providing this is settled in 90 minutes from 4, the Women's World Cup in Nice, England, Scotland. Then the Canadian Grand Prix, Jenny Gow presenting. That'll be followed by 6:06, so plenty of things to listen to and then discuss later on, all things football. Dennis Zakaria is going to be coming on. He was one of the 2 players that dropped out. Zuba was the other one. Mentioned the tennis. Russell Fuller has the latest from Paris.
No breaks of serve so far in this second set after that stunning first set won by Rafael Nadal in what sounds like a very mundane scoreline of 6-3. It's 1-1, cloud cover over Roland Garros, 40-30 on the team serve. He's won the game, so he walks to his chair with a 2-1 advantage.
Thank you, Russell. Commentary on the BBC Sport website and the BBC Sport app for that. Dennis Zakaria has come on, another one from Borussia Mönchengladbach. He's replaced Edmilson Fernandes. It's still 0-0 as Jordan Pickford plays it short for that free kick inside the penalty area to Eric Dyer. Dyer will run forward, and over the halfway line he comes to Harry Kane, whose first touch gave it straight to Xhaka, to Shaqiri. Little turn there by Shaqiri. Delph coming back, dispossesses him, takes it off his toes, and Harry Kane, who's midway through his own half, finds Danny Rose, and now it's with Dyer again. Almost invites the run from Xhaka before playing the ball back, and Rose will lift it long, but it's an aimless ball there from Danny Rose, and it will go all the way through to the Swiss goalkeeper Jan Sommer. We've been playing for just over an hour. It's 0-0. We're under half an hour away. Surely there can't be extra time.
I think if you're a betting man, you'd be betting on extra time, albeit England have had real clear-cut opportunities to be ahead in this game.
But as it is, we're still in a stalemate. Freuler forward on the left-hand side. Freuler gets it back from Rodriguez into the penalty area. Freuler, and in the end, as he tried to play it back, Jesse Lingard had tracked back with him, and Lingard forces the ball behind for a corner kick.
Well, in fairness to Freuler, as he's released on the left-hand side, is driving into the box. He gets his head up, and there's nobody in there to pull the ball back to. Seferovic hanging around on the 18-yard line, should be making a run, getting himself across the 6-yard line. A chance for the Swiss.
Rodriguez to take it. Created very little from open play, Switzerland, as Rodriguez with the corner comes out off the shins of Harry Kane. It'll be a Switzerland throw. Jordan Pickford hasn't been overly stretched this afternoon. 0-0 as Xhaka on the halfway line, the last man back there for Switzerland in their red shirts, goes all the way back to Jan Sommer, who chips it forward, and Babu heads it on. Zakaria has made that run on that far side, infield to Shaqiri. Shaqiri always looking to try and find that little bit of space, that pocket of space that he can revel in, the Liverpool player. And Babu, the right wing back, to Xhaka, coming forward. And Babu waits, stands still. I think Mbabu has actually put the ball out of play because he's noticed that there was an issue with Shaqiri, and Shaqiri is saying he's got to come off.
Yeah, looks like a calf injury. I think it's more than cramp. Shaqiri, and this will be a big blow for the Swiss because he's their most influential player. He's not in a good way at all as he's hobbling off.
Well, the player who they've called forward is Steven Zuber, but he is coming off. He knew straight away, Chris Waddle.
Yeah, maybe his calf's popped. I don't know. He seems to top his ankle. He's actually rubbing or grabbing hold of, but it's just gone, hasn't it? Because he didn't even have the ball.
No. Well, he's very, very slowly but surely making his way to the touchline. He acknowledges the Switzerland support.
Yeah, it's good of the medical team to go on and help him off, isn't it?
No, not one of them's gone on there. You can see he's clearly struggling. Liverpool's Shaqiri, 6 goals in his 30 appearances after arriving from Stoke City. Well, as we said, hasn't scored in 2019. And the player who does replace him is indeed Zuber, who was the player who made way the 2 changes. So those who didn't start, Zakaria and Steven Zuber, come on to the field of play for Switzerland. 65 minutes. And it's still 0-0 here on BBC Radio 5 Live. But that is a loss for Switzerland with Shaqiri off the field. As England still looking for the opening goal here against the Swiss. We've only won 1 of the last 22 matches since 1947 against England, and that was back in 1981, a World Cup qualifier in Basel in May 1981. Trent Alexander-Arnold with the throw, shortened inside to Eric Dyer, and Eric Dyer gives the ball away. Cher will see it back, and after that little bit of brief passage, the game has dropped off once more as Jan Sommer hurriedly will clear away. And Babu climbed very high to keep that ball in play. Xhaka to Zuber, out now to Zakaria on that far side, the right. Cross comes in and caught there by Jordan Pickford.
Well, he's in a nice position, but there was only one in the box, and maybe he could have held it up a little bit.
That's the voice of Chris Waddle. This is the voice of Chris Sutton.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for the Swiss. Shaqiri going off. They were just getting on a bit of a roll, weren't they? You could say a Swiss roll.
That's almost as bad as the game. Alexander-Arnold. Gareth Southgate is going to freshen things up. He's bringing on Kyle Walker, I think, or he's certainly told Kyle Walker to go and limber up to the right-hand side, and he'll join Callum Wilson of Bournemouth. He'll be desperate to come on and add to his couple of caps for his country as Lingard turns and Raheem Sterling, almost at walking pace, just casually strokes it back to Dyer. Raheem Sterling, who was the first Manchester City player since Tony Book in 1969 to be named Footballer of the Year, after he had a career best return for Manchester City of 25 goals, and certainly was an integral part in City's success of that last season. Dele Alli, Alexander-Arnold now, right-hand side. Alexander-Arnold with a cross-come shot that just dips over the crossbar, and out of play it goes for a goal kick.
Yep, Alexander-Arnold raising his right arm, apologising to Harry Kane, who was in the middle. He doesn't get many wrong. He crosses that over the Swiss bar.
So still here in the sunshine in Guimarães, it is still 0-0 in this UEFA Nations League third, fourth place playoff, with England in their white shirts and navy shorts. And there's been a lot of conversations away from the football, which always gives you an indication about the state of the game. And at times, this man was talking about birds in the first half. But it's not Bill Oddie, it's our football correspondent John Murray.
Thank you, Ian, and I suspect we might hear from you again later, so don't go anywhere. Don't set off back to Porto just yet. Here's Kane, who has fouled Akanji, and it's a free kick to England, to Switzerland, deep inside their own half. So we have had chances. The ball has struck the frame of the Swiss goal twice. Harry Kane early on, and so close to an own goal. As Chris Sutton said, that really was a terrific save by Jan Sommer, who's made a couple of stops of note,
as he's known by his Swiss teammates.
Yes, that's what they call him. Switzerland 0, England 0. BBC Radio 5 Live on this extremely varied sporting afternoon. The India-Australia game could be a really good one at the Oval. You can hear that over on 5 Live Sports Extra. Rafa Nadal one set up on Dominic Thiem in the French Open final. We've got England-Scotland at the Women's World Cup to come from 5 o'clock. Brazil, by the way, are winning 1-0 against Jamaica in the match currently underway. Italy won 2-1 against Australia in the earlier match. And we've got the Canadian Grand Prix on 5 Live tonight, live from Montreal. But the ball's been brought forward by Zuba, who goes for goal from 25 yards out, and will wish he hadn't. It's high and very wide.
2 subs England.
Double change, it's going to be Kyle Walker. Now, is Alexander-Arnold? No, because Alexander-Arnold's been such a threat for England that I was going to say to you, Chris Waddle, I was going to be surprised if he was making way. In fact, it's Danny Rose who is off. Kyle Walker comes on to make his 48th appearance for England, and Callum Wilson of Bournemouth is going to win his 3rd cap, but not just yet. So, Chris, Walker's gone across to the left-hand
he can
side.
play there, can he? Versatile, he's played in a back four, or every position really, so it'll not be a problem for him.
Who else would you like to see Gareth Southgate bring on? I mean, Wilson is coming on.
I'd like to see game changes. I'd like to see Sancho somebody come on and get at people. And
Gomez forward to Kane. Kane flicks it off to the right-hand side. Dele Alli in towards Sterling, who took a very heavy touch on the edge of the 6-yard box, and that carried it wide. He was under pressure from Elvedi, but
should he hit it?
It's a poor touch.
First time,
maybe
could he wrap his foot? Yeah, maybe could he wrap his foot round it?
So it is Switzerland 0, England 0.
See his frustration there. He should have hit it first time. A heavy touch.
Ian Dennis has just left the commentary position for a moment or two. He's maybe just checking on the route back.
Checking on the car,
Checking on the car, yeah. Switzerland 0, England 0. And let's get an update from the Oval from Nikesh Rugani.
Yes, Australia chasing 353 for victory here against India. Are 24 without loss after 8 overs. A very, very watchful start here from David Warner and Aaron Finch, the Aussie openers. And some good bowling early on from the Indians. Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Jasprit Bumrah and Hardik Pandya, keeping things tight as Australia look to record this, what would be a record run chase at a World Cup. They're 24 without loss after 8 overs, chasing 353.
Stoppage in play here in Guimarães. Kyle Walker and Kevin Mbabu went for a 50-50 ball 10 yards inside the England half, and Mbabu came off worse, but it's only a throw-in.
Yeah, they give the ball back now and start again. It was a little bit late.
So Walker has taken over as left back. Alexander-Arnold stays on the field, and that's where the threat has come largely for England. The danger and the potential assists of Trent Alexander-Arnold, but Zuba is offside, so it's a free kick to England halfway inside their own half. So we'll go back to Roland Garros and get an update from Russell Fuller.
A little bit of a lull here, John. They haven't stopped playing or anything, but after the most mesmerising first set, which Rafa Nadal took by 6 games to 3 against Dominic Thiem, they're perhaps conserving a little bit of energy. 3 games all on serve. Nadal yet to drop a point on his serve in this second set of the final.
Yeah, a big bit of a lull here in Guimarães. A game that has only sporadically burst into life, this 3rd place playoff at the Nations League. Portugal, Netherlands, I'm sure, will be a very different affair in Porto this evening. That could be a decent game. Here is Dyer, forward to Ali. Ali lifts it over the top for Sterling, but Fabian Schär got there easily, towering above the much shorter Sterling, and then Delph was caught by Zuba. No free kick. England continued to play it forward. Dyer. Delph gets to his feet, and he's taken quite a bang there. Callum Wilson still waiting to come onto the field. Harry Maguire now to the left-hand side to Kyle Walker. Walker now centrally gives it back to Dyer. Dyer now to the right-hand side to Delph. Gareth Southgate comes across, puts his arm around Callum Wilson. 1 or 2 more instructions. Classic Dele Alli turn there, Zinedine Zidane style. Lingard now to Kyle Walker. Heavy touch. Ball ahead of him though. Plays it out to the left-hand side. Sterling is there. Sterling now approaching the penalty area. Takes on Mbabu, but then the challenge comes in. And Switzerland are able to clear it towards the halfway line through Zakaria. England come back again though, Sterling, and then Zakaria in with a heavy challenge. The referee says play on. Kane in possession. He rolls it across to Alexander-Arnold, who curls it into the penalty area, and Sterling, arriving, claims that he was upended as he tried to leap and head it. I have to say it did look like that as 2 defenders came in, and I think we might see a VAR check here because referee Hatajan has put his hand to his ear.
Yeah, it's another great ball in by Alexander-Arnold.
And it's Mbabu who came in behind Sterling.
I'm not sure if Sterling was offside when he takes it, but it comes off his shoulder.
Confirmation that we are having a VAR penalty check. Meanwhile, England are going to bring on Callum Wilson, and that's the end of Harry Kane's Nations League. And he applauds the England fans who sing his name. The penalty check is over, and it is not a penalty to England. It is a goal kick to Switzerland. So Harry Kane is off. Chris Sutton?
I don't think there was enough contact on Raheem Sterling. If anything, he just got caught underneath the ball. He couldn't direct his header on target, but a chance now for Callum Wilson.
Not enough in that for it to be considered a clear and obvious error.
We saw the replays and there was nothing in it.
No, I think that's the right decision. So it is still Switzerland 0, England 0 here in the charming city of Guimarães. Delph, who's now got the captain's armband on, wins the ball back from Rodriguez, but tried to play it through from the angle for Wilson, but it ran through to Sommer.
I think the cross would have been a better pass.
Yeah, so Fabian Delph has got the captain's armband on again. Remember, he captained England from the start against the USA in the autumn. Raheem Sterling was the captain the other evening. He became the 8th different player to captain England from the start under Gareth Southgate. Raheem Sterling. 0-0. And Zuba inside his own half holds off Alexander-Arnold, and then Delph takes another knock from Zuba, although it was Delph who committed the foul initially, and it's a free kick to the Swiss inside their own half. And everyone just wanders away from the ball. 15 minutes of the 90 to play. If you've just switched on, this 3rd place playoff can go to extra time and penalties. Beautiful afternoon, sun's still shining. Free kick taken by Akanji to the edge of the area. Seferovic heads it back. Zuba with the shot, but dragged it wide by a yard. Pickford going down to his right. Just questions his defenders.
Seferovic causing a bit of a problem with his physicality. It's a poor effort from Zuba. Clear shooting opportunity. Pulled it wide.
Seferovic, who scored a hat-trick in the autumn in the group match in the Nations League when Switzerland beat Belgium 5-2 to qualify for the finals here. And if you do that against that Belgian team, you know, you've got something about you. Switzerland. With Mbabu, who heads the ball back towards the halfway line. Freuler with a header. Dyer heads it back into his own half. Seferovic is herring after it, but Maguire gets there comfortably. Fabian Delph now has to turn because Zuber is very close to him. Pickford passes it to Maguire inside the England penalty area. Maguire drops his shoulder, sends Freuler the wrong way. The England fans love it.
Brilliant composure. He didn't panic. He never seems to panic. Harry Maguire.
Dele Alli does well in centre field. Sterling now slips the ball through, but overhits it. Wilson couldn't reach that, and it was through to Jurgen Sommer.
That end product just missing. It was brilliant from Harry Maguire, but another chance to slide a ball through against a high line. Switzerland way overweighted from Raheem Sterling.
Switzerland 0, England 0. And the England supporters, thousands of them inside this Estadio Dom Afonso Henriquez, sing the name of the England number 6. Here's Delph bringing it forward, but he's brought down. Another little foul. Delph again ends up on the turf. And it is a free kick to England, 10 yards inside Swiss territory. And actually, it was Delph who crashed to the ground, but it's actually the Swiss player involved, Fabian Schär, who is having to receive treatment. So we've got a little stoppage in play. So Chris Sutton, while we've got a stoppage in play, these little birds that keep flying around here, I've had one or two suggestions from listeners. There's a strong feeling that it could be a sand martin. Colin suggested that. Jerry suggested that.
I think Colin and Jerry are wrong.
Suggestion that it could be a Eurasian crag martin.
Yes, that's what I think it is.
Did you know? Simon in Dorset said a red-rumped swallow. I think we can rule that out. Andrew in Washington
said a bird?
Said a European goldfinch. Definitely not a European goldfinch. And I had a look with George at half-time. We ruled out rock thrush. Thought it might be a Tony Pippet. Here's Alexander Arnold, who plays the ball in from the free kick. Maguire is able to get his head to it, but it drops behind for a goal kick. And for those who are asking, they've not got forked tails.
Who was asking?
Some people.
What about a house martin?
No, I don't think. I think it.
Based on what?
Why?
I thought it was a pub group.
What's that? A Eurasian crag martin?
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
No, it's not. That's too big.
It's
too big. They're small birds. Switzerland 0, England 0. We've got 10 minutes to go to half-time.
He blew up the photo there.
And I see the Swiss Schär has come off the field and has had his knee tended to. He's just flexing it. So the Swiss down to 10 men temporarily. I was told yesterday he was a doubt for this game, Schär, but on he comes again, winning his 50th cap to take his place back in this 3-man central defence that Switzerland have played today. Played a back 4 against the Portuguese in the semi-final. Still 0-0 as England go back into their own half. England's next 2 matches in the autumn, the Euro qualifiers, 2 home matches against Bulgaria and Kosovo in September. You'll hear those on 5 Live. England in very good shape in that qualifying group for Euro 2020, which of course is jointly hosted by England. Next summer, semi-finals and the final amongst the matches at Wembley. And the opening match, the year this Wednesday, is in Rome. Here is Akanji at the back for Switzerland. You'd expect that Switzerland might very well be there. They're in the Republic of Ireland group. And Switzerland bringing the ball forward from the back. Serial qualifiers for tournaments, the Swiss, but just don't seem to be able to get beyond the last 16.
Just lack, don't they? They're well organised, play for each other, good team. But
Alexander Arnold to Wilson. Wilson does well to Dele Alli, who stabs it past Schär, but across comes Elvedi along the back line and is able to clear it away to Akanji. And then it's helped forward by Zuba. Now Seferovic takes it off into the full-back position, has a look over his shoulder. Freuler's in the middle, but Harry Maguire comes across and gets a trusty right leg to it to hike it out of play for a throw-in. Less than 10 minutes to go of the 90 plus added time. Switzerland 0, England 0. We have commentary on the England-Scotland Women's World Cup match live from Nice at 5 o'clock. And we have commentary this evening live from Montreal on the Canadian Grand Prix. Throw in for Switzerland. Rodriguez, familiar. Ricardo Rodriguez with his long black hair tied back behind his head, takes the throw. The ball bounces to Dyer. Dele Alli with a flick. Callum Wilson is onto it. Callum Wilson takes the ball away down the right wing. He has two Swiss players with him, and Granit Xhaka puts in the challenge.
I don't know why he doesn't get out with his feet and run, because he's so quick as a player.
Chris Waddle and Chris Sutton with us on BBC Radio 5 Live here in Gimmerange. Picturesque Gimmerange. You can see that big church on the top of the hill opposite with a huge cross on top of it.
Former capital, John, of
Former
Portugal.
capital of Portugal. Gimmerange. Ball played forward by Alexander Arnold, but Wilson's pulled up for a foul on Fabian Schär, and it's a free kick to Switzerland. Halfway inside their own half. Brazil still lead Jamaica 1-0 in the Women's World Cup. 50 minutes played, and in that match Formiga of Brazil has become the first player to appear in 7 different World Cup tournaments. She's 41. Here is Akanji, who hits a long ball forward from the back, but that will just bounce way through for a goal kick. It has the look of extra time, Chris.
Yes, it
has had the look of extra time since
about the first 10 minutes.
Yes, that's right. Joe Gomez back to Pickford, takes a touch and then plays the ball out to the left-hand side. That's where Kyle Walker is, having come on as a substitute. White socks up above his knees, and he gives it to Harry Maguire. That's a popular move. Maguire then rolls the ball down the left-hand side. Lingard is out there. He's been quiet in the second half. Lingard plays it back now to Sterling, left corner of the penalty area. Sterling plays it to the byline, then chips it across left-footed, and the header hits the crossbar from Dele Alli, and it's forced into the net. Callum Wilson gives England the lead. In the last 7 minutes of this third place playoff, his second goal for England in his 4th appearance. Couldn't miss from there, a yard out after the initial Dele Alli header hit the crossbar, and England are leading Switzerland in the Gimmerange sunshine by 1-0.
Well, it's the first time I saw Sterling really use his pace, and he gets the ball, lovely cross the far post, good effort from him, hits the ball. Who reacts first? Callum Wilson, the substitute.
Oh, VAR are checking it. VAR are checking it for a potential foul, possibly by Wilson, in the build-up to the goal. So just wait. We're not going to be writing that down, although I have written it down. And the VAR check continues, and the referee is actually going to come and have a look at this himself. So the VAR official, who is Michael Fabbri of Italy, who is considered to be the top man when it comes to VAR, has called Ovidiu Hatajan across to have a look at the screen to see if he thinks that there has been a foul.
Well, it may be from the initial cross, whether Wilson fouls. I think it's Fabian.
The ref's running back onto the field here, Chris. And
he pulls up. Callum Wilson pulls a jersey as he goes to attack the cross, which misses him, but he does pull him down to the ground.
And the goal is ruled out. It's not a goal. The goal is disallowed, and it is still Switzerland 0, England 0.
So it's from the first phase where Wilson just, the referee thinks he's fouled Fabian Schär, and Schär is on the ground.
Was it Rodriguez? It was Schär who was fouled.
No, Akanji.
It was Akanji who was just tugged back by Callum Wilson, and so the goal is ruled out, and that's a fair call.
Well, when he looked at it, when he went to the ground, I wondered why he went to the ground. I didn't see it, but obviously we saw the replays, and yes, it was.
So VAR, we thought England had won the match on Thursday night, the semi-final here. VAR ruled out the Lingard goal for offside. I thought that had won it for England here, as the ball is played forward for Sterling to chase, but it bounces through to Sommer. But the Callum Wilson goal is ruled out, and it is still Switzerland 0, England 0. It's at the same end as well, in front of the big 2-tier stand to our right, which has all of the thousands and thousands of England fans in it, as Switzerland win a free kick on the halfway line for a foul on Akanji. And we're going to see Josip Drmić of Borussia Mönchengladbach. I think he's the fourth different Borussia Mönchengladbach player to be involved, and he takes the place of Ricardo Rodriguez. And the England supporters inside the ground are singing songs that suggest they're not keen on VAR. But the right decisions have been found.
Yes, it was a right decision. That's what it's there for.
So Vladimir Petkovic has brought on another front man, the Borussia Mönchengladbach forward Josip Drmić, who's missed almost all of this season with injuries. He's had
Zubal play wing back,
and Zuba's come across to the left hand side. So Switzerland 0, England 0 remains the score. We've got less than 3 minutes of the 90 to play. Cher goes for a high long pass to Zuba on the left hand side. Zuba takes it down, gives it back to Freuler. Freuler's pass is intercepted by Alexander-Arnold, and then in comes Drmić to block it out for a throw in. Alexander-Arnold takes the throw. Delph chests it down. He might have just given it away. He has given it away, but Freuler could only prod it infield to Maguire, and England will break. Dele Alli, Sterling's available. He's looking for Wilson, but mishits the pass, and Akanji actually very nearly missed it altogether, but it's out for a throw-in to England, almost up level with the edge of the Switzerland penalty area. Switzerland 0, England 0. And Alexander-Arnold is going to leave this to Gomez.
Long throw. Harry Maguire and Eric Dyer making the way to the Swiss box.
He's got his ball. He's got the ball up his shirt. Gomez just making sure every little piece of debris has been taken off it. And here comes Gomez with the long throw, high towards the penalty spot. Maguire heads it on a stretch away by Zakaria. Comes out for Dele Alli though. Corner of the penalty area. Sterling now. Sterling takes on Babu, who got a foot to it to send it behind for an England corner.
Sterling just should have did what he did about 5 minutes ago, just push it to the bar, and he's got the pace.
Brazil now lead Jamaica 2-0 in that Women's World Cup match, which is currently going on. 0-0 here, and we are almost in the 90th minute of the third place playoff. Sterling was thinking about taking the corner, but wisely Alexander-Arnold has gone across there to take it, so all eyes on Harry Maguire, who is the last of the men in line. And then here comes the corner of the near post, which is headed away on the edge of the 6-yard box for Switzerland, who haven't cleared their lines. Walker wins it back. Now Delph chips it forward looking for Wilson, but that was intercepted easily by Akanji, who will strike it left-footed downfield, and Drmić is chasing it. Seferovic wants it in the middle, but England are able to get back because Drmić was shielding it from Walker. But now Zuba on the left-hand side. This could be dangerous for England. Zuba against Delph, beats him. Then his left-footed ball is turned away by Dyer, but then it's played back to Xhaka. His shot blocked on the edge of the 6-yard box by Kyle Walker, and England are able to clear it. Comes back for Drmić, and then he can't find a teammate, and England have got it back halfway inside their own half. And it's still 0-0. The fourth official has come to the edge of the pitch and shows us that there are 4 minutes of time to be played. Alvedi under pressure from Lingard, plays it back to goalkeeper Sommer. Yoma, as his teammates like to call him. Maguire now to Walker to Dyer, who has to just scamper after that and play it forward towards Dele Alli. And now Sterling's running from deep, and he has the ball from the left-hand side from a stretching Kyle Walker, but straight at goalkeeper
Put Alexander-Arnold to the left now. He's gone on the left, and Walker's come to the right.
But he's crossed this time, Alexander-Arnold. He was actually on the stretch for it, was straight at the goalkeeper at the near post.
That was a shame, that. He worked it really well, and Wilson was free 6 yards out in the centre of the goal.
Still 0-0 though, and it looks as though we're heading for extra time. After the goal was ruled out, Callum Wilson thought he'd perhaps won it for England, It's still 0-0 after VAR's intervention. Ball downfield, Walker gets a shove in the back by Drimage. That was not very subtle, and it's a free kick for Walker to take. England supporters, flags draped all over the stadium, just as they were the other evening. Very different game. There was proper intensity really the other evening, but that's not been the case here. But I don't think we expected it to be. Pickford with the ball inside his penalty area. Will strike this long. Wilson challenging for it, but he's beaten to it by Cher. Dyer then wins the header for England. Walker beaten to it by Drimage. And now Zuba runs into trouble, runs into England's shirts, and then Granit Xhaka with a typical Granit Xhaka challenge, just clumsy.
Chance
Bundles
now.
over Wilson.
Decent delivery.
Free kick. This is right of centre, about 10 yards right of centre. So he should be able to get a good angle here.
The way this game has gone, the Swiss fans may cheer if England score.
Hope he can get a better angle than Ian Dennis did in that call the other night.
Alexander Arnold waits to take it. England have Maguire right at the back of the line of red and white shirts, outside the penalty area. Alexander Arnold raises a left arm. Alexander Arnold plays it in towards the back post, but Elvedi got there for the Swiss. However, Maguire is able to make sure it's an England throw, and with Maguire over there next to stands which are fully populated by England fans, they strike up their Harry Maguire song again, and Gomez is going to have another go with the long throw. Remember, his club have got the long throw coach, the specialist coach, Gomez. It has been useful for England already this season. Here's the long throw, but it's headed away by Mbabu at the near post. Gomez keeps it in. Gomez plays it back up the line to Sterling. Sterling, little piece of trickery from him, still going. Granit Xhaka sticks out a leg, blocks the cross from Sterling. Walker looked to play it, but dwelt on the ball, and Zakaria wins it back, but Alexander Arnold comes across and just wallops it downfield, and we are now in the 4th minute of added time. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, and Walker got away with that one. The Swiss could have broken out there. Alexander Arnold alert to hoof the ball into the stand.
Throw in for the Swiss. The 4 minutes are almost up. Drimage takes it down on the halfway line, and there's the final whistle, and we will have extra time. In the 3rd place playoff, Switzerland-England. England have come closer to scoring throughout the match. Harry Kane with the chip that was touched onto the crossbar very early on. Very good save from Sommer as well to prevent a Cher own goal. Callum Wilson did get the ball in the net, but it was ruled out by VAR for a foul by Wilson, so it's extra time. Chris Waddle.
Yes, it is, and England should have put this game to bed on the chances they've had. It's not been a great game at all. It's been very slow, long periods of nothing to talk about really, but the best chances have fell to England, and they should have won the game.
So the usual preparations going on for extra time here in Guimarães. So we'll take you back to Caroline Barker in Nice.
Mr. G. Lee writes, have your football team been replaced by the TMS team with a little wind-ups and nature notes? Good news, Mr. G. Lee. The full extra half hour of extra time does TMS is on its way from Portugal in just a moment. We are ready here in Nice for England-Scotland. That's a 5 o'clock kickoff back home, their first game in the Women's World Cup. That commentary is on the way after extra time with England-Switzerland. But let's dash around the rest of the day's sport. We'll start at Roland Garros, the men's final at the French Open. Russell Fuller is there for us.
Where Rafael Nadal is trying to take this second set into a tie-break. Dominic Thiem leads by 6 games to 5. First net Nadal by 6 games to 3. Only 1 point against the Nadal serve in the entire set until this game, where he finds himself 15-30 down. So potentially Dominic Thiem could have a couple of set points in the moment. And there's Nadal missing with a forehand. He's pushed the forehand wide, and Dominic Thiem now has 2 set points to level this match. He played magnificently well in the first set, so of course did Nadal. He took it by 6 games to 3. The second set has been quieter. The server has not been under threat until now, with Nadal serving to stay in the set. 5-6, 15-40, 2 set points to Dominic Thiem to level the final here at Roland Garros. 100 times when Nadal has won the first set in a 5-set match on clay, he's gone on to win the match 100 times. That's the weight of history that Dominic Thiem faces as Nadal chases a 12th French Open title. Here's the first of 2 set points on 5 Live. Nadal serving at the far end at 15-40, a good deep serve, the forehand from Nadal, Thiem will hit the backhand, the forehand from Nadal, Thiem makes room for his forehand hit hard by Nadal, but Thiem is there, lifts a forehand up onto the baseline, forehand from Thiem cross-court on the first of 2 set points, and Nadal has gone long, and the match is level at 1 set all. Under no pressure at all on serve throughout this set, Thiem has struck in the final game of the set. He's won it by 7 games to 5, and Nadal has got plenty of work to do if he's going to win a 12th French Open title. It's 1 set all in the final.
Blimey. Thanks, Russell. If you want to hear full commentary, why wouldn't you? It's over on the BBC Sport website and on the app. To the Oval next, Nikesh Raghane's watching India-Australia.
Yes, and Australia, in their chase of 353, have lost a wicket. Aaron Finch run out needlessly, you'd have to say. A brilliant piece of work in the outfield by Kedar Jadhav as David Warner drove one out to deep cover, and they went through for 2, Warner and Finch, and Aaron Finch run out at the non-strikers end. He was livid as he made his way off the field. He punched the dressing room door frame as he made his way off the field, and that was a crucial breakthrough for India, just as the Aussie openers look to be setting a decent platform. But they've been pegged back here. They still require another 291 runs to win from just over 36 overs. They are 62 for 1 in the 14th.
From the Cricket World Cup to the Women's One Day, England, West Indies. Henry Moran.
England 204 for 7 in a rain-reduced match. 41 overs a side is the equation for both sides. England have 2 left in their innings. Been a little bit disappointing in the last few overs. They've lost wickets at regular intervals. It all started well. Tammy Beaumont with 61 has top scored, but they want to add a few runs more to their total at the moment. West Indies could potentially be a dangerous side chasing, despite how poor they were in the first one day at Leicester a few days ago. England 204 for 7. They've got 2 overs left of their innings. This match reduced to 41 overs a side.
Cheers, Henry. Already today at the Women's World Cup, Italy fought back from a goal down to beat Australia in stoppage time. That had a big shock in the Women's World Cup. 2-1 the final score there. It's currently Brazil 2, Jamaica 0. Jamaica, they did save a penalty in that one, but Brazil have just now actually gone 3-0 up. So that one done and dusted, it looks like, for Brazil. Back to Portugal then. Ian Dennis, part of our commentary team out there with Messrs Waddle and Sutton. Chris Sutton, we were talking about whether things would improve performance-wise. It has, at least with you spotting birds. We've had lots of different ideas in for what the birds could be. It's now called Bird Social, 85058. Brian in Newcastle says swallow swifts and house martins all have forked tails and they're all more entertaining than this game. That is not a reflection on your commentary, Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Caroline. Oh joy, extra time. With Switzerland getting the first period underway at Switzerland 0, England 0. And judging by the state of the stand on the far side, there were a lot who headed to the exits down the gangways at the end of 90 minutes. And I think that a large proportion on that far side have actually decided to go home, because there are a lot more empty seats than there were in the regulation 90. Neither side has made a change. England have only used 2 substitutes. You are allowed to bring on a 4th, which Switzerland might well do in this extra time period, as England in this first period in their white shirts and navy shorts are playing from right to left. And here is Callum Wilson, who thought he'd scored, only to have that disallowed so late on, just as they did against the Netherlands on Thursday night with VAR. So Pickford in goal. It's a back 4 of Walker, Alexander-Arnold, they're the full-backs. Maguire and Gomez in the centre of the defence. Then the midfield of Ali, Dyer and Delph, Lingard, Sterling and Wilson. Switzerland have Sommer in goal, back 3 of Elvedi, Akanji and Cher, and Babu is the right wing back. They've changed things around. Zuber is now playing on the left side of the left wing back. Xhaka and Freul in the centre of midfield, Zakaria, and then you've got Dermic and Seferovic. Red shirts, white shorts, red socks, Switzerland, who haven't really threatened Jordan Pickford's goal a great deal in this game. And Babu with a long throw from the right-hand side, headed away by Dyer, and there was a foul there. Dermich on Maguire, and that will be a free kick. Let's get the thoughts of Messrs Sutton and Waddle.
Well, I'm all for the Nations League. I think it's been a huge success, but we'll have to explain the logic of this extra time. Why not go straight to penalties?
Straight to penalties, I was going to suggest that.
Third and fourth place playoff. I don't really see the point of this at all.
I don't think they should have a third and fourth playoff. I think once you lose, you're here to win a final. You're not here to win third and fourth. So, to me, if you're out, you go home.
Well, there won't be any presentation for the medals. They're just going to be left in a bag for the winning dressing room, is what I'm reliably told. 0-0. England have a free kick, taken short to Lingard midway through the Switzerland half. As soon as this is finished, though, we're switching straight to Nice, ahead of England against Scotland. And Rachel Brown-Finnis, Pat Nevin and Vicky Sparks, your commentary team for that Women's World Cup encounter in Group D. As Lingard makes a run to the edge of the area, bobbles away off his knees and runs into the arms of Jan Sommer. And Jan Sommer will hold on to the ball. England's starting 11, by the way, against the Dutch on Thursday was 24 years. The average age was 24 years and 156 days. It was the 10th time in the last 23 games that England had selected a team under 25 years old in terms of that stat. It had previously happened only on 10 occasions out of 606 matches. Just goes to show how Gareth Southgate, with the various players that he's used 58 different players in his tenure as the England manager, has changed things by bringing the average age down.
Yeah, they were younger, England, than the Dutch, believe it or not. The Dutch, 26, just over 26 years, their average age, Ian, if you didn't know that.
Very good, Chris. I only was focusing on England. I wasn't necessarily focusing as much on the Dutch. As Walker over the halfway line. On this near side, the left, feeds the ball out to Lingard. Alexander-Arnold then with a cross in towards the penalty area. Arriving is Sterling, actually strikes Elvedi and goes behind for a corner. They're appealing for handball, the England supporters. They'll be supporting for VAR in a minute.
Alexander-Arnold again puts in a brilliant ball, and these should be goals. Look, it's bouncing inside the 6-yard box. It's not a handball, no.
He's listening to the earpiece. Well, our little monitor will tell us if there is to be a VAR check, and indeed there it is, potential penalty check.
Well, Sterling, the ball bounces and Sterling's about 4 or 5 yards out. He heads it down into the floor. I think it comes off Elvedi, and then it hits Mbabu in the chest and goes wide. I think the England fans thought it hit him in the arm.
Check over, play to resume. Alexander-Arnold, they've swapped a couple of times, he and Kyle Walker, since Walker came on as fullbacks. He's back on the right, but it's to take this corner kick on the left. It's right-footed, it's an in-swinger, and it comes off the head of Seferovic and behind for another corner kick, and the multi-ball system is in operation. So whilst one ball drops into the red shirts, the Swiss support behind that goal, another one is quickly fed to Alexander-Arnold, either the ball boy or the ball girl, and Alexander-Arnold now will curl it in, and the header from Eric Dyer on the near side of the 6-yard box was just off target. 0-0.
Not an easy header. Dyer makes a diagonal run across the near post, is beyond or just on the corner of the 6-yard line as the right-footed in-swinger comes in, and he heads it wide of the near post. Just trying to glance that, beat Sommer on his near post.
So we're in extra time. It's the first period of this third, fourth place playoff in Guimarães, and then as soon as it's finished, we've got England-Scotland, and the team news is in from Nice. Vicky Sparks.
Less than an hour until kick-off as the old enemies go head-to-head once again. 5 changes for England from their surprise friendly defeat by New Zealand. Mead starts in place of Duggan, who's injured. Neither her or Debbie Stokes are on the bench. White's in ahead of Taylor up front. Bardsley in goal ahead of Telford. Scott and Bright also come in. Scotland making their World Cup debut make 2 changes from their warm-up win over Jamaica. Howard in at right back and Murray comes into midfield, meaning star player Kim Little could well push up into the number 10 role.
And Vicky will be joined by Rachel Brown-Finnis and Pat Nevin to bring you that commentary on 5 Live. Here there was an opportunity for Raheem Sterling whilst we were away getting that team news, but it was a shot that was down into the ground and easily dealt with. England will build from the back. Fabian Delph has taken over the captain's armband from Harry Kane, comes forward, now finds Lingard on this near side. Alexander-Arnold has switched once again onto this near side, the left, so he and Kyle Walker continue to alternate as the ball is going to go out to Walker, I think, eventually, from Dyer. Just slips it into the path of the Manchester City player, almost level with the penalty area. The cross is a very, very deep one, and it won't actually go out of play. It's kept alive. Oh, it will. It's a goal kick.
I don't know why he's got Alexander-Arnold on the left-hand side. He's crossing from the right. He's been brilliant today. He must have put 4 or 5 really top-class balls in that box here, and why they put him on the left?
Yeah, it's an odd one, really. That's not Kyle Walker's strong suit, his delivery in the final third, and you have somebody as talented as Alexander-Arnold. There's a bit of a waste, isn't he, out on the left.
Still 0-0 up until today. England had only failed to score on 8 occasions in their last 45 matches, but it really is a stalemate here in extra time as Ali, although they should have scored, they've had enough chances. Dele Alli with a header, should have buried that one, and a couple of occasions as well. Sommer has made fingertip saves onto the crossbar in the first half and the post in the second. Walker, crossfield ball out to this near side, the left, brought down off the chest of Alexander-Arnold, gets it back from Delph and goes infield to Joe Gomez, controls the ball with his right foot, brings it under control in that centre circle. Forward ball to Lingard. Lingard now links up with Ali. Ali out to Walker. Walker, diagonal ball along the ground with his back to goal. Ali then turns. Dyer helps it on to Delph. Alexander-Arnold curls it in with his right foot. Ali with a header. Sommer again with a save. Fantastic double save, because he was quickly back to his feet and on the rebound kept out Raheem Sterling. Nick gone behind for a corner, still 0-0.
Well, it's a wonderful ball in from the left-hand side from Alexander-Arnold, right-footed, and Ali gets up superbly, arches his back and neck muscles and gets the header on target. It's creeping in. Sommer, big left hand to it, and then he gets up and stops the rebound from Sterling. It's a brilliant. The second save is brilliant. The first save was good.
Good reaction, double save there from Sommer. In comes the corner, cleared away at the near side by Mbabu. And Gareth Southgate will be thinking,
I'd say, and the
he's
game's
cursed.
for them, isn't it? Switzerland for the last probably half hour of this game have just dropped right off completely and just sat back in numbers. Basically said it's there if you want it, England.
Well, certainly since Shaqiri left the field of play, they've offered nothing, have they? I mean, he was always the danger man when he was finding those pockets of space.
Yeah, the Swiss have gone into neutral.
So reliant on Shaqiri, but now they're depending on Sommer. But that was a brilliant double save. 0-0. Dyer. Ball rolls down his chest. Delph. Sterling. The steward just tried talking to me. The fact that I had the microphone was a little bit off.
Probably heard about you driving.
Delph forward to Sterling. Sterling looks up. Lingard's making the run, but Sterling's going to carry the ball inside. Lingard then waits. He finds Lingard out towards Alexander-Arnold, right corner of the penalty area. 0-0 in extra time in this Nations League 3rd, 4th place playoff. Lingard being forced away from goal, trying to hold off Freuler. Now comes forward. Ali, challenge from behind. Clumsy challenge really by Cher. Free kick. Are they going to take it quickly? Ali thought about it, but we'll wait.
They've lost their energy levels in Switzerland. They're just waiting. If England score, they can get into that 2 or 3.
4.5 minutes to go in the first period of extra time, and it's 0-0. Alexander-Arnold, you've seen him score from this sort of position before for Liverpool. He was in conversation there with Maguire. Dyer is also there, but Alexander-Arnold, he fancies eyeing this one up. The Romanian referee, Mr. Hasagan, is marking out the full 10 yards. Switzerland have everybody back. It's a line of red just outside actually on the penalty area now. Foyle is going to join it as well. Sommer's making sure that the wall has covered that left-hand post, or his left-hand post, as he waits, poised, ready. towards the closing stages of the first period of extra time on BBC Radio 5 Live. No doubting England deserve the win. It's going to be Alexander-Arnold, like a rugby union fullback, very precise as he takes the steps back. It's a stuttering run-up, it's right-footed, into the top of the wall, comes out to Kyle Walker. The referee has quickly stopped play, and everybody groans, but I can only imagine that this is a head injury, the way that the ball struck whoever the Swiss player is down. And if that's the case, then credit to the Romanian official for acting so quickly.
Yes, whipped in. I think it's to the chest. And I don't know who it is on the floor, but looks to be in a bit of trouble there. So I think it's the correct thing to do from the referee.
It's Elvedi, the defender who plays for Borussia Mönchengladbach. His only goal was actually for Switzerland in that astonishing 5-2 victory against Belgium, because to qualify they needed 2 clear goals. They were 2-0 down to Belgium inside 17 minutes, 3-2 up at half-time, and then going on to win 5-2 in a very impressive manner. But they have been less than impressive, but it's good to see Nico Elvedi at least back onto his feet. And they are able to bring on a 4th substitute as we are now into extra time. But it's still 0-0 here on BBC Radio 5 Live as we're creeping towards half-time. They give the ball back and allow Elvedi to come onto the field of play. Jordan Pickford then to Kyle Walker. The heat as well. Must be about 20 degrees here in Guimarães in northern Portugal today. Talked about the last thing that the players wanted, going for an additional 30 minutes as well as Walker. So the heat might be a factor as well for the extra fatigue as Gomez now out to Alexander-Arnold, who once again is back on the right-hand side. They're still looking for a little bit of joy as he and Walker continue to switch, and England will get a throw over on that right-hand side as we're about to enter the last 60 seconds of the first 15 minutes of this extra time. Delph to Ali. Ali waits, tracked by Mbabu, back to Walker, and now to Maguire. The crowd are tired. Some of them might even be asleep because it's very, very quiet here inside the Guimarães Stadium.
That doesn't mean they're asleep, does it?
Maguire waits. Maybe that's what the steward was doing when he was just loitering and lurking to my right-hand side in his luminous orange bib. Walker been dispossessed by Zakaria running forward. Seferovic is ahead of him as he chugs his way to the right corner of the penalty area, and then in a lumbering manner gives the ball away. Xhaka wins it back to Mbabu, right hand side. Mbabu with a cross, clutched out of the air by Jordan Pickford in his penalty area, and we're about to find out how much added on time there will be in this first period of extra time, where it's still Switzerland 0, England 0. I once did a World Cup match, I think it was Cologne with the Swiss. It was voted one of the worst matches in World Cup history. It was against Ukraine. It was 0-0. Literally nothing happened. No shots on target. The Swiss didn't even score one of the penalties as they went out.
Well, I don't think this has been as bad
no.
as that. The disappointment will be is England have had chances and haven't taken them. The Swiss have offered very little.
Ross Barkley's getting some instruction. In fact, Jadon Sancho's also there as well. Gareth Southgate. Now, whether he's just giving them some instructions or he's actually just telling Jadon Sancho something, because it's strange that they couldn't bring on one of them. So it's either going to be Sancho or Ross Barkley. We've got 1 minute of added on time, which we're already into in this first period of extra time. England in their white shirts. Harry Maguire looks shattered out there. Now to Lingard, leaves it for Delph. Captain in the fact that Harry Kane has been taken off. Ball switched out to Alexander-Arnold, hits it on the outside of the right boot. Forward ball to Ali. Excellent by Alexander-Arnold. Wilson's forced out wide. His cross didn't beat the first man. Elvedi will bring it away, and there is the end of the first period of extra time. 0-0. We'll have the second period for you, but we'll go back to Nice. England-Scotland is on its way in the Women's World Cup. Caroline Barker in the south of France.
Thank you, Ian. Yeah, we'll build up to this one England up against Scotland at the end of either extra time, penalties or sleep, whichever comes quickest over in Portugal. Back with the team in just a moment. Let's flick round the rest of the day's sport. Jonathan Overend is at Roland Garros for the tennis first.
Yep, well, I think I'm quite happy where I am here, Caroline, because this is a terrific final and it's one set all. The crowd really into it, as you might imagine. However, in this fourth set, Nadal has won all but 1 point and he leads by 4 games to love with a double break of serve. Nadal has won 16 of the 17 points played in this set as Team really goes on a little bit of a downer after that thrilling end to the second set. So 1 set all, but Nadal 4 love up in the third.
Thanks, Jonathan. That continues over on the BBC Sport website and on the app. To the Cricket World Cup, India, Australia, Nikesh Ragani.
Yes, Australia chasing 353 for victory here and going along pretty slowly at the moment. 87 for 1 after 18 overs. Required run rate up to 8.3 runs an over. So far, David Warner has played a bit of a strange innings so far. 36 from 64, very uncharacteristic from the Aussie opener. Just the 3 boundaries for him. Steve Smith is with him at the other end and has moved on to 11 from 10. Aaron Finch, the only man out so far, 36 from 35 for him before he was run out after a brilliant bit of fielding on the boundary by Kedar Jadhav, but perhaps some poor running as well from the Aussies, running through for 2 when it was pretty risky at that stage. Aaron Finch not happy with himself, visibly angry as he left the field, and the Indians on top after taking that wicket. The Aussies 87 for 1 after 18 overs.
Cheers, Nikesh. It's Brazil 3, Jamaica 0 in Group C, that Women's World Cup match earlier on today. Quite a result for Italy with a 2-1 win over Australia. England-Scotland, that's a 5 o'clock kickoff. Just watching Scotland, the full team warm up to my right. Just England's goalkeepers out on the pitch here at the Stade de Nice. Full build-up then on its way after the second half of extra time with John Murray.
Yes, kickoff in Nice, 5 o'clock UK time. So less than an hour away from kickoff there. And we are in the second period of extra time here in Guimarães on a beautifully sunny afternoon here in northern Portugal. And it looks, Chris Sutton, as though England are going to make a double change. The remaining 2 substitutions that they're allowed to make. Now we're in extra time. Sancho and Barkley coming on.
Yeah, I think it's Delph and Lingard, the men to make way. And I think Sancho was pretty decent against the Dutch the other night, and England playing their Barkley card.
Yeah, in actual fact, that looked like a number 18 that was shown by the 4th official, but it is Delph, is it? Delph's. He's taken quite a lot of bumps and bangs, Delph. So Barkley is on. Ross Barkley for his 29th cap, and the 19-year-old Jadon Sancho winning his 6th. So the start of the second period of extra time. Switzerland 0, England 0. It's just looking back, Chris Waddle, as the second half gets underway. The number of chances England have created, and the Swiss have had next to nothing.
No, England should have put this game to bed. It's just poor finishing.
Barkley, first touch of the match, forward to one of the other substitutes, Callum Wilson, who thought he'd won it. We all thought he'd won it late on in the match when he put the ball in the net, but the goal was ruled out by VAR for a foul by Wilson himself inside the Swiss penalty area in the build-up to it. Throw into England on the right-hand side. They've caused 1 or 2 problems with the long throws of Gomez, and he trots forward now, the Champions League winner, to take this throw. He actually backs into the shadows down in that corner to our right. A backdrop of England flags behind him as we look from this angle. Gomez with the long throw to the near post. Maguire got his head to it, but Sommer, who I think has been the Swiss man of the match, comes forward and catches the ball comfortably on the edge of the 6-yard box. Long, black, shiny hair. The Borussia Mönchengladbach goalkeeper clears the ball from his hands. Dele Alli, who came so close. He should have scored early on in the game, but Sommer made a terrific save, diving to his left later on in the match to deny Dele Alli. And the Swiss in the red shirts go all the way back to Sommer. Pulls the ball onto his left foot. Wilson wasn't far away, and he's cleared onto the chest of Harry Maguire, who just takes it down and pops it to his left to Kyle Walker, who's back on the left-hand side again. Kyle Walker for the start of the second period of extra time. Could be penalties in about 15 minutes time from now if there are no further goals. No further goals, but there are no goals at all. Here's Dyer. Dyer playing it to Alexander-Arnold, who's created quite a number of chances. None of them have been converted by England. Barkley. Now Barkley moves away from Zuba and now takes the ball on towards the edge of the area, slips it forward. That's nice. Alexander-Arnold's ball across. Callum Wilson was there at the near post, but the defender was there too. Fabian Schär, outstretched leg, corner to England.
Great ball by Bartley, who's just come onto the park. Great run, Alexander-Arnold, and he puts it in that near post. Good defending.
Corner to England. Bartley to take this. England are now attacking towards the end to our right. That's the big stand, the two-tier stand, with thousands and thousands of England fans, most of whom are wearing white shirts, looking down on this Barkley corner from the right. He chips it in towards the back post, and it is headed up and over. Eric Dyer was underneath it. Quite a strong challenge from behind him, but he headed it wide of the far post and up.
It was a floated right-footed corner from Barkley, and Dyer gets up really early and doesn't time his jump properly and heads it meekly over the bar.
Chris Sutton and Chris Waddle with us here in Gimmereinch, and we're watching Switzerland 0, England 0 in the third place playoff at the inaugural Nations League finals. Here's Dele Alli, is fouled by Zakaria, and it's a free kick to England over on the far side. The Swiss are going to make their final change, and it's going to be a debut for the teenage forward Noah Okafor of Basel, who was a late addition to the squad when Brel Embolo had to withdraw from injury. Free kick, England take it. Walker slips it forward towards Dele Alli, but bounces away from him. Zakaria clears back towards the halfway line. Maguire to Walker. Walker goes back into his own half to Maguire. The England band strike up again. Quite a number of empty seats. I don't think we've been given an official attendance, but it's probably around 20,000.
I'd say 15,750.
Around 15,742, I'd say. The ball is touched out of play as England played towards Alexander-Arnold, and it's out for a throw-in. Not going to take this long. Alexander-Arnold's going to take it short to Sancho. Flick from Alexander-Arnold. Sancho's onto this, and then Granit Xhaka is able to turn it behind for another England corner.
It's all England, isn't it? They've been for the last probably hour. It's just been all England, but they can't put the ball in it.
Barkley to take it. He steps away to his right. England crowding the edge of the 6-yard box this time. Barkley drives it, aiming for Maguire. Maguire's beaten in the air by substitute Drmic. Bounces around the edge of the penalty area. Drmic misses his clearance, but it's bounced for Switzerland, and Zuba's able to get it back, and Zuba's pass is straight at Walker on the halfway line, and England come forward again. Walker's going to go on a little run forward, which he does, but on his pass Sterling was on his heels. Elvedi has played it up towards Zakaria, and Zakaria has evaded Maguire, and he gives it to Seferovic. Seferovic on the edge of the box. Gomez going with him and forcing him wide. Seferovic turns it back. Drmic on the edge of the box, but Kyle Walker was able to come back, and then Sterling with a challenge. Xhaka goes down, no free kick. Drmic shoots, but it was blocked at source by Walker, and England break away on the counter-attack. Barkley took his eye off the ball, and it rolls out of play near the halfway line.
The Swiss have no real pace in forward areas, and that's been their issue, and the England backline have dealt really comfortably so far.
Seferovic has laboured really. Here's Drmic. Drmic trying to take it on, but in came Dele Alli and Dyer, and now England up to Sterling in the centre circle. Sterling towards Sancho, who pulls away out towards the left-hand side and then cuts back infield from left to right. Dele Alli, middle of the Swiss half, arms waving, then gives it to his left. Sterling is there, the ball almost stationary, through to Dele Alli, who can't take it into his stride, and it runs through to goalkeeper Sommer. And we have played 111 minutes and 11 seconds. 111.11, 0-0.
There's a lot of tired legs out there now, a lot of them.
Schär on the edge of his own box. Granit Xhaka. The Arsenal man gives it to the number 14 Zuba, and then Switzerland go back into their own half again. It's passed forward by Akanji of Borussia Dortmund, Jadon Sancho's clubmate. Now to Freuler, who was part of that great season with Atalanta in Italy this season. Harry Maguire's able to win the ball back on the edge of the penalty area, return it to Pickford. Pickford's clearance is headed square by Elvedi, and he's headed it straight to Barkley, and
And we've just lost the line to Portugal. It's Caroline Barker here in Nice. In the closing stages, the most excitement comes when the line drops to Ian Dennis, John Murray and the team. We will be back there, though, for the closing stages. If there's any goals in extra time, or indeed if it goes to penalties, then we'll let you know exactly what's happening. Good news, though, we don't need to do that because we can go straight back to them and John Murray.
I thought England were going to score when you were away, which would sum up the day. Wilson had a chance at the near post, and he wasn't able to get a touch, and it is still Switzerland 0, England 0, and Seferovic has now been substituted, so Noah Okafor is on for his debut. Chris Sutton and Chris Waddle with us. Another chance for England not taken.
I just wondered whether there was an offside flag there as the cross went in for Wilson. It was crossed in around hip height. Not an easy finish, but it's pretty much summed up England's afternoon.
That completes the substitutions. Both Gareth Southgate and Vladimir Patkovic have made 4 each. Still 0-0, and we have just over 5 minutes of extra time to play. Then it would be penalties, but England are breaking forward with Jadon Sancho. Sancho running at his clubmate Akanji. Sterling makes a diagonal run. Sterling's now got the ball at his feet, looking for options, plays it infield to Barkley. Barkley lifted it forward, came off the top of Akanji's head and floated through for another England corner from the right.
I have to say, I think Harry Maguire has had a really strong game again for England, at the heart of that defence, reading the play, starting the attack off again, and another chance from an England corner.
Barkley takes the corner short to the corner of the box. Alexander-Arnold tried to swing it in, it was blocked, and then he punts it in on the volley, and Sommer looking rather more alarmed than he should have been because it was landing on the roof of the
net. It was wasted, wasn't it? The corner, short one, first one blocked, and then he ends up volleying it high, lands on top of the net.
So it's a goal kick to the Swiss, and it is still 0-0. And we have now just over 5 minutes to play. The Swiss supporters, they provide a splash of red around the corner of the lower tier to our left, behind Jordan Pickford's goal. Probably around about 2,500-3,000 of them, as the ball is played forward by Xhaka, cleared away. Xhaka gets his head to it, but that's an easy one for Kyle Walker to deal with. So the India-Australia World Cup game continues on 5 Live Sports Extra. Slow progress from Australia as they chase 353. The French Open final, you can listen to that via the BBC Sport website and app, and it sounds like a good one. Jonathan Overend's there.
2 sets, John, which were shared. Rafa Nadal has shown his true colours in the third. He has raced through the third to win it 6-1.
He's fouled, and it's a free kick to England right on the edge of the box, and a yellow card for Granit Xhaka for the challenge. Sterling there, the quick feet winning the free kick.
Well, we haven't seen a lot of him doing that, but when he has changed his pace, which he's very good at, he gets rewarded.
We'll get you another update from Paris just when we see what happens to this free kick. So England have this chance from the set piece, won by Sterling, and we've got 4.5 minutes to play of extra time. The options are Alexander-Arnold, and this is near the corner of the penalty area. He's already had a goal with one from further out. Sterling is there as well, and Barkley too.
Quite close, isn't he? You often see a thumper here.
Well, you'd like to reverse it, wouldn't you, really? Look as if you're going to go over the wall, but reverse it to where the goalie's standing and they'll catch him out.
Sterling waiting. The drum beat tries to put pressure on the Swiss defence. Alexander-Arnold. It looks like Sterling is the most likely option. That's the impression that England have given. The referee's ready. England are ready. Sterling with the free kick. Hits the crossbar! So close. Inches away. Beautifully hit by Sterling, and it smacked the top of the crossbar near the post and bounced out and it's still 0-0, and for the third time in the match the ball has struck the frame of the Swiss goal, and the Swiss just hit it away downfield and give possession back to England.
High free kick. Difficult really, as Chris said, it was near to get open over. We went for pace.
England again deep in extra time in the third place playoff. England against Scotland in the Women's World Cup in Nice to come from 5 o'clock. As soon as we're done here, we'll be building up to kick off with our team in Nice. But England with it on the left-hand side. Ball bounces back to Sterling. Sterling turns, Cruyff turn from Sterling, left-footed cross, no one there for England. It was beyond Wilson, and it bounces down to be cleared away by Zuba. And he's won himself a throw-in deep inside his own territory. So it remains 0-0. The crowd just groaning there, because on the big screens high on the top of the stands at either end, the Sterling free kick has been replayed, and it's shown how close it was, right smack in the face of the post, of the bar. Zuba's cleared it away to Dyer, who is now the England captain incidentally, after Delph went off. Up it goes towards Sterling, very congested on the edge of the Swiss box, and Freuler is able to run away with it. And then it's played forward for Freuler to chase, but that's beyond him, and Maguire will just tidy up, glide away with the ball, give it back to Pickford, who returns it to Maguire. Into the last 2 minutes of extra time now, it's still 0-0. Now Dele Alli makes ground into the Swiss half to the left-hand side. Sancho, ball at his feet, pulls it back towards Dele Alli. Now Barkley, that goes further back towards the halfway line. Walker had to make quick ground, give it to Eric Dyer. Sterling drops a little deeper and now will run at the Swiss defence. He's gone round one man but couldn't get past Akanji on the edge of the box, and it's played forward to the substitute, Okafor now with Dyer next to him. Dyer's forced him out wide, so the teenager turns and uses the available Zuba behind him, and then Zuba back to Akanji inside his own half.
That was good play by the sub, because they're under pressure, Switzerland, and he's run the ball and given them a little bit of a breather.
Penalty shootout, a little more than a minute away here in Guimarães on this glorious June afternoon.
You can hear the Swiss fans getting behind their team, but they've offered nothing really in terms of an attacking sense. England should be out of sight.
I think the Swiss they had a couple of shots early on. Freuler had one that was straight at Pickford. Xhaka was set up by Shaqiri. That was the closest they've come, but that's been about it. And England just haven't been able to convert. Barkley put under pressure, and the ball rolls out of play with a final Swiss touch, and it's a throw-in for England. This could be the last attack. The half an hour of extra time is almost up. England though coming forward on the left-hand side. Dele Alli might use Sancho. Ali plays it back to Sterling. Then the challenge comes in on him, and the final whistle goes. And we will have extra time to decide who finishes third in the inaugural Nations League finals here in Portugal. So we will be back for that, but the match has finished 0-0 after extra time. Back to Caroline in Nice.
Looking forward to it, John Murray and the team. Thank you. Right, back to Paris we head then. Set 3 disappeared in a flash. What's the latest, Jonathan Overend?
Oh, well, this is ebbing and flowing. It's 2-1 to Rafa Nadal. Yes, he raced through the third set, 6-1, playing really well. But Team has just forced a break point on the Nadal serve in the opening game of the fourth set, as if to show that he isn't finished yet. Team gave absolutely everything in those first 2 sets, and of course sneaked the second in that thrilling finale. Then it was all Nadal. But can Team hit first in this fourth set to maybe take this final into a decider? It's 2-1 Nadal as things stand, and we're in the opening game of the fourth.
Commentary on BBC Sport website and on the app. Australia need the highest chase in World Cup history to beat India at the Oval. How are they doing, Nikesh Ragani?
Yes, 353 required to win. They're 108 for 1 in the 23rd over, and we're just getting to that point in the game where they really need to step on the accelerator. The required run rate creeping up to 9 runs and over as India bring in a third spinner into the attack. Kedar Jadhav into his first over. David Warner has just brought up his half century, 50 from 78 balls. He's going to need a strike rate a whole lot better than that. He's on 50. Steve Smith on 21 from 22. And Australia, requiring 353 to win, are 114 for 1 in the 23rd over.
And the West Indies need 244 to beat England in the women's one-day. Henry Moran.
And they've only got 44 overs to do it. Caroline, this match reduced by rain earlier on in the day. England setting 233 for 7 from their 41 overs, so the target revised according to Duckworth Lewis. England's top scorer Tammy Beaumont with 61. You'd have to say it looks a tall order for a West Indies side that'll be low on confidence after a heavy defeat in the last match. They require 244 for victory.
And the opening weekend here in France of the Women's World Cup. Australia have been beaten by Italy 2-1. Brazil were 3-0 winners over Jamaica. But we're building up even to England-Scotland, a 5 o'clock kickoff. Team news from Vicky Sparks.
And Phil Neville makes 5 changes for England from their surprise 1-0 defeat by New Zealand. Tony Duggan isn't fit, neither is Demi Stokes, neither of those players in the squad today. So Beth Mead comes in for Duggan. White leads the line, edging Taylor. The other 3 changes all expected. Bardsley wins that battle with Telford to start as the goalkeeper. Bright back in central defence, and Scott back in midfield. Scotland, 2 changes for them from their final warm-up win, 3-2 against Jamaica. Sophie Howard scored the winner in that game. She starts at right back, and striker Jane Ross makes way for midfielder Christy Murray. So that may mean that Kim Little pushes forward into a more attacking role.
Thanks, Vicky. And only penalties stand between us and the end of the third place playoff in the Nations League. Ian Dennis.
Thank you, Caroline. Yep, back here in the sunshine in Guimarães. This is Switzerland's first semi-final since the Olympics in 1924, and they're going to a penalty shootout for the. This was the first semi-final that they'd reached since 1924, and now in this fourth place playoff, they find themselves in a penalty shootout, and they've never won a penalty shootout. They've lost both occasions: Poland in Euro 2016 and Ukraine in that World Cup last 16 encounter I talked about in 2006. But of course, remember, for England, last summer, England won their first ever penalty shootout at a World Cup by beating Colombia. They had lost their previous 5 since Euro 96. So they're just doing the toss of the coin now with the 2 captains, as Eric Dyer now has the captain armband, since Kane and Delph have subsequently passed it on to him. Xhaka is there for Switzerland, and I think, judging by the cheers of the England supporters who've gathered predominantly in that double-decker 2-tiered stand away to our right, I think that's to the end where they're going to take the spot kicks. And now they're going to decide who goes first. So still the conversations are taking place. At the end of the day, this will now be a worthwhile experience, won't it, for Gareth Southgate? A penalty shootout in a competitive environment.
They were good against Colombia, weren't they? And in the World Cup, so all right, Harry Kane's not on the field, who's probably the best at them, but we'll see how it goes.
Could have done everybody a favour by missing out the extra time, maybe.
Yes, yeah. I think that's something that maybe UEFA could certainly look at. So the end will be in front of the England supporters in that 2-tiered stand. England's number 1 is the chant to Jordan Pickford, who, all in yellow, is going to walk across now and probably shake the hand of Jan Sommer. Instead, they go for a fist pump, and then the other players gather inside the centre circle. And in fact, judging the way that Harry Maguire is waiting, he will be going first, because the rest of the England players linking up, arms over the shoulders. Maguire will take the ball, and once again, it's been the soundtrack of the afternoon, that little ditty about what he drinks and the size of his head. And that is the chant that reverberates around this stadium here in Guimarães. So England will go first. It's a penalty shootout. It's live on BBC Radio 5 Live before we head off to Nice for England-Scotland in the Women's World Cup. Referee just stands over the ball because he wants to make sure it's in the precise spot. Maguire said it was all the time. Maguire up against Jan Sommer, who's made some brilliant saves to deny England during the course of the game. A double save, a couple of efforts onto the post, Now he faces Harry Maguire in this penalty shootout in the UEFA Nations League, third, fourth place playoff. Oh, do me a favour, referee. How pedantic can you be? He's saying it's still not... He's told him to adjust the ball again. Right, now we can get underway. Maguire walks back to the edge of the area. Sommer jumps up and down on his goal line. There's the referee's whistle. Maguire waits. Sizing it up, runs forward now, right-footed, and blasts it past Sommer. 1-0 England.
Yep, well, the England fans may sing that he has a big head, but he's a big player. For Gareth Southgate, that was emphatic, wasn't it? Strolled up and walloped the ball to Sommer's left. Really confident penalty from Harry Maguire.
So for Switzerland, after Harry Maguire has taken the ball back, it's going to be Steven Zuber, who will take their first penalty. England's men involved in a penalty shootout here in Portugal. In the next half hour, England's women will kick off in Nice. But we have a little bit of drama to end the third place playoff here. Jordan Pickford on the line, all in yellow, hopping up and down. Now he's still. Zuber waits for him. Still he waits. A right-footed penalty that is high beyond Pickford's dive to his right, and he makes it 1-1 in the shootout. Chris Waddle.
May not see a better one than that. Gets his foot right on it, wraps his right foot round it to Pickford's right, high into the roof of the net. Absolutely no chance for the keeper. Class.
Chris Waddle, Chris Sutton, John Murray and myself, Ian Dennis, all here in Guimarães for this penalty shootout. And now Ross Barkley comes forward. He doubled his England goal tally with that couple of goals, that brace of goals against Montenegro. He now will place the ball down, the Chelsea player, and up against Jan Sommer. Zuber and Maguire have both converted the opening spot kicks for England and Switzerland. Barkley now walks away, 4 paces back, short run up for Ross Barkley. He waits, the referee's blown his whistle, Barkley still waits. Sommer just moves gently on the goal line. Barkley then, Panenka, right down the middle as Sommer dived to his right.
Yep, bank on Barkley, as cool as you like. Sits the keeper down, watches Sommer all the way and just dinks the ball up slightly into the back of the net. Very nice penalty from Ross Barkley.
I don't know if you can hear the Portuguese commentators behind us, but they finish saying goal at about the point where the next penalty is going to be taken. 2-1 to England in the penalty shootout. Granit Xhaka of Arsenal, the Swiss captain, is going to take this one left-footed. Jordan Pickford is just told by the referee to once again to make sure he doesn't come off his line. So Granit Xhaka with the second Swiss penalty. England have scored both of theirs. Here he comes, left-footed, and he sends Pickford the wrong way, just tucks it away.
Very good. Under pressure, the England fans making a lot of noise, jumping around, trying to put him off, but cool head, left foot, sends Pickford the wrong way to Pickford's right. Pickford goes left. Very good.
Jadon Sancho, this will be a good experience for Jadon Sancho. He's had a terrific season for Borussia Dortmund. They finished runners-up to Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. 13 goals, but also 16 assists. His 6th appearance for his country. Of course, he's yet to score, but he certainly impressed when he made that cameo role in Rijeka behind closed doors. Well, here he is now, being faced by those hordes of England supporters who want him to convert his penalty. It's 2-2 so far in the shootout on BBC Radio 5 Live. Sancho runs up now, and although Sommer got something on it, he does score. He does find the back of the net, and England lead 3-2.
Yeah, starts with a straight run-up one, step to his left-hand side, and Sommer is not far away, goes to the keeper's left, but just enough pace and accuracy on the penalty to find the back of the net.
It's a Kanji who is going to step forward now, the strapping Borussia Dortmund central defender, and he arrives on the scene. Quite struck as well, by the way, how England are really taking their time about this. Remember, that was one of the instructions that Gareth Southgate gave them before the penalty shootout in Moscow last summer. But it's a Kanji now. All the penalties have been successful so far. This is the Swiss third. Right-footed from the central defender, slow run up, and then he tucks it away brilliantly high to Pickford's left. 3-3.
Well, yet again, the standard's been excellent so far, and that was a top-class pen, that. Slow run up. Pickford didn't know which way to go. He was looking and waiting. By the time he decided to go to his left, the ball was in the back of the net.
Have you noticed, by the way, the relationship between Jordan Pickford and each of the takers so far? After they've struck it, Maguire, Barkley and Sancho, they've walked across to Jordan Pickford, who waits just to the right-hand side. Pickford gets hold of the ball, and whoever then steps forward, he hands them the ball. Just gives you an illustration of the spirit in the England team. Raheem Sterling then. No one's missed yet. Raheem Sterling waits. Runs up now and scores. Very good penalty down towards the left-hand side. Sommer gets the right way at full stretch. England lead 4-3.
Yeah, such a high standard in this shootout. Sterling, fast run up, and he whips it across Sommer into the corner. Now we're at squeaky bum time.
Well, it's going to be the young boys right back, Kevin and Babu, who had a brief spell at Newcastle, who's going to take the next one. Jordan Pickford now arrives in the goal. He looks, well, he always looks full of confidence. Just takes a few steps forward. Pickford now jumps up, touches the bar with both of his white gloves. And Babu just adjusts his hair. He's got his long hair tied back by a little band. And he comes up right-footed and finds the corner of the net. Excellent penalty. Pickford dived the right way, just couldn't get there, and it's 4-4.
No, standard's been brilliant, got to say. We could be here till midnight, by the way. That was a class. Pickford gambled, went to his right, it hit the side net and right in the corner. Brilliant.
Quite funny then, nobody ventured forward from the line of England players in the white shirts. Raheem Sterling looked down the line going, who's going to take it? It's Jordan Pickford. Joe Hart, I remember in 2009, an under-21 European Championship, took a penalty. Stuart Pearce said he was one of the best penalty takers. So Pickford, with 3 giant strides backwards, in all yellow, up against Jan Sommer. We're effectively into sudden death now for this penalty shootout. 4 each. Pickford waits, runs up and hammers the ball as Sommer goes the wrong way. England have converted all 5.
What a penalty that was. Jordan Pickford, a sort of Ronaldo pose before he took it, and he whips that, sends Sommer the wrong way, all sorts of pace on it. Brilliant penalty, whipped it across Sommer, 5-4.
Pickford's reaction, hilarious. He gave it the big oi oi, left arm punching the skies in front of all of those England supporters. So as Ian said, it is now sudden death. And Pickford, did he take his gloves off?
Yeah.
He took his gloves off to take the penalty. Now he's put them back on to see if he can save a penalty and win England the match. Jordan Pickford having his name sung by the England supporters, and it's the Sunderland boy against the Newcastle central defender. Fabian Schär to keep the Swiss in it. Oh, very cool, tucks it away and scores. Just wandered up and clipped it. Pickford initially went to his left, couldn't get back, and it is 5-5, all 10 scored.
By the way, a lot of pressure there, but he just passes it. It's not even in the corner. He sends him the wrong way, he can't get back across to his right. It's 3 or 4 yards inside the post.
Well, Eric Dyer will have memories, of course, of Russia 12 months ago. Certainly the stakes are not as high as they were against Colombia. But after all 5 have been converted by both Switzerland and England, we are now into sudden death in this shootout on BBC Radio 5 Live. And Dyer waits and comes up now and again beats Sommer, and England leads 6-5.
Yeah, really confident penalty. Just lollops up to the ball, puts a good penalty to Sommer's left-hand side. I think Sommer stays up too long, maybe thought it was going down the middle.
And it is Josip Drmic, came on as a substitute during the course of the game, who is going to take the next penalty, the 6th penalty for Switzerland. Had an injury-hit season, barely played actually, just 5 appearances for his club. Jordan Pickford walks off his line with his both arms in the air and then steps back. If he misses, England win. Drimich standing on the edge of the penalty area and coming up right-footed. There's a little delay, then little steps, and Pickford saves! Diving to his right! England have won the shootout here in Guimarães, and Pickford drops to his knees and turns and raises his arms to the England supporters. He's one of the heroes, having taken a penalty himself. England scored all 6 penalties. How times are a-changing. And Pickford made the save, and England win the shootout 6-5, and they finish 3rd in the Nations League. Chris Waddle.
Yeah, unlucky. I mean, it was a decent stand. A good height for Jordan Pickford. He gambled early, went to his right. It's a good save. But it was funny, nobody celebrated, did they? They just all walked across each other and shook their hands, and it was only Pickford went, so I enjoyed it.
Chris Sutton.
Look, I think on the balance of play, England deserved to win the game, but a confidence booster. England winning another shootout. Pickford, fantastic save in the end. It wasn't the worst penalty at all, but no, I think overall England certainly deserved to finish 3rd in the Nations League.
Yeah, the right team won over the balance of play. Yeah. England really should have taken the chances they had.
If England had won 4-0, I don't think anyone would complain about that. Switzerland have been delighted to get their 4 in the game, and that's but England far better team, yes, and definitely deserve to be 3rd.
So there we are, the England players and the Swiss players now milling around one another. It's been quite a gruelling afternoon for them in the Portuguese sunshine here, and they're now going and applauding to all of the fans, the thousands and thousands of fans who've come here, these ones, and behaved themselves in Portugal, and thanking them for their support. So after a 0-0 draw, after extra time here in Guimarães, England have won another penalty shootout, 6-5, and now the focus can turn from the men here in Portugal to England and Scotland's women in Nice. Caroline Barker.